Mike is working fine.
Oh, I got a bunch of equipment.
We also got
It's in the sheet. I'll take a look.
We
at
got
it.
the money sum too.
I think I think you effectively still have it all on you. I guess is what we did too. Especially since you weren't here to defend yourself. Like,
He was just a pack mule while he's gone.
well, just like we don't want if you
Don't want to like if I looted the chest to be like, yeah, we're gonna distribute this evenly.
Well, he's not here to say if he wants anything.
Just be like, yeah, evenly except for the stuff that I steal.
So.
Oh, that's right.
Last time, this was 2 weeks ago now, I believe. Very early, sort of pre-dawn, after speaking with Killier, you were summoned to the back of Owls, and you were spirited away deep into the Black Fens. Landing there in the village, this hilltop village of elves, a group of elves that called themselves the Tiri Kitor, introduced themselves to you. You spoke to a number of the high officials of the village, including a Celeria Starsinger, who explained some of the recent troubles that they've been having with the lizard folk in the swamp. And you collectively pretty quickly put together how it might be related to the Red Hand. The elves were consistent in offering you hospitality, if not trust, outright. But they were very kind. They put you up in tents, comfortable tents, and gave you free reign of the village. You, perhaps on accident, discovered the origin of the corpse devoured by the creature you slew that came upon you at the edge of the forest, and found out that this elf's sister is also a powerful mage in the village, and you were all, as sort of bearers of bad news, invited to that to attend that funeral should you wish on the next day. But you spent the day, because you arrived so early in the morning, you were able to spend the day exploring. You all collectively spoke to a great number of the residents, learned a little bit about the elvish culture in the swamp, including the Pantheon and some of their crafts and hobbies. Did some shopping. Davian dreamt of Shadows and Flames, while Runar and Redrick sort of commiserated a bit about Tor. And I believe, while everyone else...
Yeah, they talked about you while you were here. It's great.
While everyone else rested, Rex, you spent the first part of your evening, at least, scouting, and learned a little bit about where you might be headed shortly. You arrive back at the village early enough to get a full night's rest, should you wish. The rest of you certainly have more than enough time to rest. And you awake on the dawn of your 14th day, since all of this started.
I had that as door 15th.
15th day.
That's crazy.
with the day ahead of you in a sort of strange yurt tent. With sort of no expectations on you apart from perhaps attending this funeral should you wish it. Before we go any further, what do we think about hero points?
I liked the scouting mission idea. That was cool.
Yeah.
Even if I was thinking a whole new world in my head the whole time.
It was a good time.
Is there a point in giving it to me? Kevin's not here.
Oh, Zach, one thing I did want to remind, or we didn't mention, is I composed a eulogy for that involved. Maybe you can tell me if I'm saying this right. Findalara.
Yeah.
Findalara.
Yep.
And so basically, it was like a eulogy about the two siblings. And they both took after.
Why don't you save that for the actual? Should you want to speak it?
Yeah.
Then I think it would be more appropriate to do during the event itself.
Poem written up, but I can give.
Yeah, just an overview.
Yeah.
That's all I ask. Yeah. If you had written an actual poem, that would have been pretty impressive. I suppose you could have slapped it in ChatGPT and just to see what it comes out with. But anyway, yes, you took some time preparing a sort of ode. And remind me, how did you learn about them? Did you do a that spell?
So I learned about I actually learned about the two of them by talking to people.
Oh, that's
like
right.
A society role.
That's right.
Like I took that knowledge that I knew about them, and then I took like more knowledge from automatic writing.
That's right.
To compose the that's sort of where the composition, because like the deep lore about the god and goddess.
Yeah, you found out that, what was it, Lanakar was more aligned with a different one.
Yeah, he wasn't actually a big. I mean, he respected the hunter god, but his true inspiration was the god of the arts, Findalara.
Awesome. Well, unless anyone has any.
I do like the scouting mission a lot. I'll nominate Rex for that.
Confirmed. We'll give it to Rex.
Hooray.
The other thing I like was our conversation about.
Yeah,
It was good.
That was the other thing that
But
stood out.
there's two of us, and we talked about him, so he's also involved.
True.
I wasn't.
No, he wasn't there.
It's great because I
wasn't involved.
really want to ask what
He
you
was
said,
just
but
talking.
I
It's
feel like
ideal
this
that
is,
you don't know
yeah, I
that.
feel like
Yeah.
this is appropriate. Where you know, I'm just like, come on, guys.
It works out well from a non-meta game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good RP conversation.
You don't know, you weren't there.
It was great. Honestly, it might have
That was
been.
invisible.
It might have been some of the best RP
I mean,
that occurred at the table.
Critical Role, move over. Basically, that's how good it was.
So, Zach, one more quick question: is there? I know
Jordan.
typically
I
there's
made-
been,
That's why I said it.
like in towns, like first level scrolls, there's one available. Is that the same here, or does it depend on the type of
If
school?
we get back to it.
Yeah,
One is
it does
way
depend on the
up.
type of school
Okay.
here.
Which ones were?
Uh,
It was like what divine? I thought was one.
It's wait.
I can't remember.
It's definitely nature.
So that would be primal.
Primal. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know. I feel like
and-
arcane wasn't one of them.
No, it would be if any. No, it would certainly be primal and occultism.
Oh, occult.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Although I don't know if you'll find everything in occultism, but you will certainly find everything in primal.
Okay, I was just looking for another true strength scroll.
Oh.
Not a character.
Actually, that's interesting. No, you were not able to
Okay.
find True Strike Scroll.
Where do we end up standing with the silvering of our weapons?
His was
Mine,
done.
no, mine is in
in
Progress. I need to pick that up today.
Mine's after yours, so therefore it's also assumedly not done.
Sure.
And I finished your armor.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I think you did that night,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
you are correct.
Finish that transfer.
Oh yeah, I have that equipped.
Yeah. So I think you.
Oh, and I needed to sell my excess armor. Huh? Which was now just a breastplate and a studded leather, non-enchanted.
That can easily be sold.
Yeah, I meant to do that off session because that just sells for half the buy price, right?
Yep, just as per usual.
Yep.
Well, the morning is quieter than you remember from the day before. It seems as though there's almost a somber taste in the air as you stir.
Do you know what time the ceremony was supposed to be?
You were just told it was soon after dawn, and that someone would come
Okay.
to collect you if you wish to attend.
Well, definitely would attend. Didn't write this whole thing up to not attend.
Okay. Well, do all of you wish to attend or no?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, you're collected by an elf woman you don't recognize, and you find that instead of being held in the great hall that many of you saw the day before, the denizens of Starsong Hill have collected on the east side of the island, on the side of the rising sun, and they've collected around a great pyre, all of them standing sort of at a distance, in less formal garb, less formal state than you might expect. Many of them are resting, crouched or sitting. Some are in trees, but all are very attentive, even if they look perhaps casual to the outside viewer. Perhaps where a body would have been placed, you see mementos stacked on the pyre. People from this circled crowd of elves intermittently walk up and place small items there, perhaps saying prayers in the silence of the morning, before returning to a respectful distance. After a long moment of silence, Chalara begins to sing. She does not approach the pyre, except to place something, returning just as everyone else had. And she begins to sing. While her voice is certainly full of sorrow, it is practiced, you can tell.
She's the sister, right?
Yes. And it is impressive, certainly matching any performance you've seen in any of the cities that you've attended. And certainly it threatens to bring tears to your eyes, even not knowing the elf that she sings about. the body, or the lack of a body, the pyre is burned. It appears to catch and burn very quickly. We're perhaps not sure whether this was aided by magic or otherwise, but it burns to nothing, to ash, remarkably quickly as you watch. And after the ashes cool, they are collected by Trelara and placed in an urn. It is only then, as the urn is capped and she sort of grasps it to her chest, that shouts of joy come out from the crowd. And the elves, as one, begin to celebrate. They, as they stand up and begin to move toward the center of the town, toward the great hall at the top of the hill, you can immediately hear all around you, should you understand Elvish, stories of the deceased. All of them told with a great, deep joy of memory. Whether the stories are happy or sad, they seem to revel in bringing the deceased back to life via their tales. These are, at first, just among small groups, and you kind of overhear them passively. But as you make it to the hall, you see that sometime in the night, there have been preparations. There are great tables of food and drink and wine. And the elves all around you begin to partake more or less immediately. And they feast. And you are invited to feast as well. As soon as you enter the hall, you hear music begins to play. There are all manner of vocalists and instrumentalists that play happy, jaunty music. Many of the elves dance, and at times, well, before I continue, how do all of you react to this as you see this happen?
The whole thing.
At least up to this point.
I mean, I was personally very, almost, not appreciative is the right word, but interested in the flame send-off. As my holy symbol is like a phoenix, just like going out in flame is just like, okay, yeah, that feels familiar. But then, yeah, the celebration definitely takes me off guard.
Rex is immediately in when the transition from sorrow to celebrating life happens. He's initially surprised because used to more of the mournful response.
Yeah.
As somebody who's more around as a ranger and somebody out in the wilderness and just the way that things work in the world, seeing it more of a less of the mourning period stretching and more of the celebration. He's okay, I'm in for this. I don't know the guy, but yeah.
The elves were not afraid of the mourning part either, just to be clear. Mm-hmm. They shed tears. They were quiet and they were somber. They shed many tears, but they were just as earnest about the celebration part as they were the mourning part.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just a little bit as you surprised, but kind of relieved.
I would imagine that Runar would be probably just taking it in more than anything. Probably on the quieter side, just sort of waiting for a good moment to give his piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
After everyone sort of has a chance to partake, of some food and some wine, some dancing. You notice that in one section of the hall, there is where the musicians are playing. Occasionally someone will come and step in front of them, and they sort of all pause in their musicianship. They're playing, and a story is shared. Usually about something Lanakar did, or something that something, some way that they helped another of the denizens of Starsong Hill. They're usually fairly short anecdotes, stories, tales, and there's always a cheer and a toast after each, and the music begins to play again, and they continue like this for hours. After many of Lanakar's close family tell stories, you notice that the stories begin to trail off into old lovers and childhood friends, and stories about old fights and bloodied noses, that sort of thing. And the stories become sort of more and more whimsical and unhinged, and some of them you suspect may be outright fabrications. But you have every possible opportunity to speak should you want to.
Yep, I think that obviously after, I would say sort of reading the room when some of the early, I wouldn't go up like the second or third person to go up. I'd let the heavy hitters go first, but then I think after that, Runar would step up in front of the musicians, and then start speaking in Elvish. And just start with.
You notice actually when you do this that they do not stop playing until you begin speaking in Elvish, and then they sort of realize what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
They don't stop you, and they stop playing immediately. Almost, they just didn't. It seems as though they didn't think you were there for the reason you were. But yeah, so what kind of things do you share?
So we'll start off by just saying, "Let me tell you a tale of two siblings, a tale of song and magic," and then he'll start to basically give an allegory about, I believe it was two birds that we sort of mentioned before, and sort of weaving in the themes of Yulrol and Findalara, and then how these two birds were able to produce the most, like, together, some of the most beautiful song, and through both magic, natural, and learned, and together they were able to achieve heights that alone that they never could. And then sort of as we're getting towards the end, sort of the final line will be, though one may be gone, his spirit lives on in her heart and in song.
Awesome. Go ahead and make a it's performance, I believe. Add +5.
Okay. Oh, so I rolled a 19, so that's 19. I think I have 5.
Nice.
So +5, so 29.
The
Hero.
the performance is not lost on the elves. At first, you do notice that you get some strange looks.
Yeah.
When you begin your story.
Mm-hmm.
But by the end, even if perhaps you on stage, so to speak, don't notice, the rest of you do, though. You notice that of the elves listening, they appear rather impressed with this tale. And you receive a glowing, rapturous applause and more than a few elves offer you drinks afterward as they sort of usher you away and the music begins to play again. Trilara later does she doesn't spare many words for you, but she does approach you and thanks you briefly for the poem, for the tale, but says little more than that. Although it does appear it is heartfelt. None of you get the sense that there's any expectation for you to stay, and you do see many other elves coming and going. Although it does appear that no one is working. Apart from, you do notice there are still elves occasionally flying overhead. Nobody is plying trades today. Everyone is sort of merry in one way or another, even if they aren't in the hall celebrating.
It's Memorial Day.
Everyone that you've met so far attends. Should you wish to speak to any of them, they're all available, but the rest is sort of up to you all.
I wouldn't have any particular objective in doing so, other than I would definitely find Kiliar and share a drink with him.
He's happy to share.
Redrick would probably not not that he isn't welcome, but he probably wouldn't stick around the whole time either. But he would probably try and socialize with anyone that is there that seems like they may have served with him, and sort of communicated my condolences of losing a comrade.
You recognize some of the elves that found you
Yeah.
in the day before.
Assuming they can talk to me, that's not been Elvish.
Yeah, they do. They
Okay.
do. They don't speak much, but
Okay.
they do acknowledge and thank you for your sentiment.
But rest, like I assume the default language here is Elvish.
Yes.
Elvish, and so I'm like just sitting there like not hearing, not being able to understand a single thing that's happening around me. I'm just like, okay.
You do notice that if you are nearby,
They'll switch.
they do switch.
Okay.
It
was my hope when I went to go join in that conversation that they weren't just like, oh hi. Anyway, back to Elvish. So
Yeah, unless they hear you speaking Elvish, they will sort of try to include you.
cool. Okay.
It does seem like everybody is in a very good mood. And they seem quite more than happy to try to, bring you as part of it, as part of this.
I'm not even wearing my armor to this thing. I am like wearing like the clothes that normally you wouldn't even see, but they are sort of nicer clothes, like my tabard and the clothes underneath, which I've taken time to clean as best as I can. I've combed my beard, like I did like do some prep this morning to make myself presentable and not like a dirty guy who just got off a griffin 24 hours ago.
I'd probably talk to if she's there. I think you said Stellaria Starsinger. She's the older.
She's the matron of the...
Yeah, I probably want to talk to her and just ask her about like where isn't there a high singer position? Just
That is Trilara.
yeah, but just about the history of that. Is like why do you have a high singer and
It is an ancestral position. It's something we've had for as long as this tribe has existed. An ode to the gods which guide us. A position for each, so to speak. I hold one of those titles, as does Kiliar. I think you met our priest. We, through our acts of charity and good for our fellows, have been elected, so to speak, into these positions. of honor, and we try our best to serve our kin. Hers is one of music, but also of magic.
And yours?
My position is one of, well, being a great old woman. I have seen many things and am happy to share my experience. And this apparently was good enough for my peers to call me matron. But as you've seen, I am an experienced druid. You've met, perhaps at a distance, my companion, who swims even now in the pond, and she sort of nods in the direction of her.
Don't go to the pond. We were told not to go to the pond.
I'm a bit old now, but in my day, we saw much of the swamp, up close and personal.
Is that his home? Is that his original home?
Oh no, he just likes to be nearby. Sometimes he avails himself of the surrounding swamps at night. As you might guess, he can take care of himself.
I can imagine.
Something kills that. Better watch out.
Tor would, I don't know. So he would socialize. I don't have a particular strategy for how he does that.
That's fine.
But he would probably just go and join into some of the conversations and enjoy the tales being told.
Okay.
And I think Renard would just sort of be picking the brain of Stellaria about like the history of Star Song Hill and the history of the tribe, and if she had any I think she'd sound like she adventured in the swamps a lot. Just if there's any advice she could give to us as we're traversing through the swamps.
So you intend to travel north, I take it?
Absolutely.
Well, I'll say the swamps need not be your enemy. They have protected us for many, many years here. But beware what the swamps hide. You need not rush into this. I know you're eager to protect your veil, as I would be to protect my village. But do not rush into folly. Things here are not always as they seem, and you would be wise to take care.
The swamps, are they usually... So when I imagine a swamp myself, or marshland, I imagine it's very loud. Like it, just because of the insect noises. I've been to Florida and even like the metro parks in the summer. I don't know, is it, I would try to get a sense of, is it the same way here where it's like lots of ambient, like not white noise, but like insect noise that makes it hard to, like you wouldn't hear somebody splash in the water 100 feet away necessarily.
So you haven't gotten a great sense of that because here on the hill, it is pretty quiet.
Yeah.
You have a lot of trees, tree cover.
Yeah.
And you're pretty far from like the low swamp surrounding the hill. You do get the sense, though, if you were out in the thick of it, amongst the sort of bog and reed, that it would be quite loud, and that a splash here or there would be almost constant from whatever creatures inhabit the swamp, whoever might be, whatever fish might be swimming, whatever predators might be hunting. Yeah, it's not going to be a quiet place at all.
Right. Especially now we're around. Did you hear about those? I don't think he heard about the creatures that spotted at night.
You mean during the day?
There was a...
It cannot be
Oh,
spotted
you're right.
at
You're
night.
right. You're right. You're right.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I did spot another creature, but the one that they told us about, there's a large... Caleb, this is for you, by the way. There's a large shadow creature. It seems like a lizard. And it seems to rest on and guard the old battlements.
Restalore.
Of Old Rest, yeah. It's barely visible under the sunlight. Like, you can catch a glimmer of it, basically, right?
That's right.
And it's completely invisible at night, effectively.
So our general plan is to arrive at the crack of dawn, basically, to minimize our chances of running into it at night.
How did we find this out?
Talking to
Scouts.
Kiliar, and I think primarily Kiliar told us about that when we first arrived at Starsong Hill.
That's correct. Yes.
Nothing to worry about, I'm sure.
And she confirmed to us that there have been like strange lizard folk mutations, like the thing that we fought, and it seems to be originating around Old Rest. The mutations that they're undergoing.
Sure. And so that's why we think that there's a shared cause between them and the goblins.
Yeah, and it's been fairly confirmed in the aspect that we flew with, or I flew with Kiliar and another scout late at night, the previous night, and I would have shared this. If there was time in between wake up and us being picked up.
There was.
Okay, I would have shared this in the morning with the group of the fact that I found while we were flying, there are a bunch of shabby huts around the lake that is, because Old Rest is effectively sunken.
Yes.
Right? It's mostly submerged, and around the edge of the lake, there's a bunch of shabby huts that, I think Kiliar pointed out were not previously there.
Yeah.
Seems like there's lizard men
Which seems like
encampments.
lizard folk are set up around the edge. There's basically there's one fully standing tower and one that's partially crumbled.
That's right.
This fully standing one's the bell tower, and the partially crumbled one that's a little that's not quite as tall. Both of them are surrounded by recently and poorly built little piers that are clearly a newer addition. And when I was flying over in the water near the bell tower, I saw the outline of wings under the surface that looked very similar to that of the creature that we fought. Well, I guess it would have been the night before, but basically the thing that we stumbled upon. So they're definitely set up there for more than just a quick visit.
Sure.
Was there a chance I would know or have any idea what this shadow creature was based on your religion and recall knowledge or something?
Oh yeah, you can try.
Yeah, I guess nature too, but
Oh yeah, and I don't remember if we ended up doing this because of it being in the middle of everything that was going on, but I meant to, based off of the fact that I have bounty hunter, attempt to hunt and therefore get a recall knowledge check on whatever the shadow creature would have been.
Yeah. Yes. Why don't you both give me recall knowledge checks for your choice of.
They're the same.
Of
do religion.
So would you have told us about this? Because I'd also like to make a check if
About what?
about like what you saw.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay,
That's why I was relaying the information.
Okay.
I said in between waking up and before they picked us up.
Can I make a check as well, Zach?
Yes.
Okay. What should it be with?
Your choice.
That's an easy choice. Occultism.
29 religion for me.
Okay.
I think that's 25 occultism.
Okay.
Not that good, to be honest.
I'm gonna do nature. And that will be only 17 on my end.
Okay. Okay. First off, rhetoric. There are a number of things that come to mind based on your reading and your knowledge of religion that this thing could be. Your mind immediately goes to that of like a shadow, like the creature called a shadow.
Yeah. It's like Stefan's head. I'm like, well, that's what it sounds like, but.
You suspect, though, if it is an elder version of it, for it to
They're
be
not that big, right?
right. They're like medium size or smaller. So if that's what this is, you suspect it is an extremely powerful example of one for it to be as described. The only other thing that comes to mind is some sort of like ghost or partially incorporeal creature that makes it difficult to see. You know of many sort of undead that would fulfill that description, but what specifically it could be, you're not sure.
If it is a shadow, or I guess, or an incorporeal creature, is it actually completely indetectable at night, or is that just that no one's be able to see it because it's so dark?
Yeah, you suspect it's just because at dark it would be in the dark it would be next to impossible to pick it out from its surroundings.
So it'd be easy for it to sneak up on us, but as soon as we had a light source near us, we could see it.
Yes.
It got to us. Okay.
Yeah.
Would dark vision allow us to see it?
It might help, but even with dark vision, a shadow is a shadow. It's still cast, and so you suspect it might help in terms of spotting like movement of a creature, but probably not picking it out from like its surroundings necessarily.
Do I have an idea of what level of, assuming that it's weak to light, what level of light would be required to hurt it or weaken it, or is there anything along those lines?
Well, of what you know of those creatures, it would require like a daylight equivalent or more.
It actually became useful very quickly.
Sorry, there's a bit of a deviation. I see that I'm buying a mutagen, and I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's right.
we all kind of communally assumed to be something you'd be interested in, and it wasn't very expensive, so we had you buy it.
I don't know what that is.
It's psychedelic, right?
It's like
Psychedelic mushroom.
It is like let me find it.
I think more than anyone, Runar decided that you would want it.
Yeah, if you feel like your character would not have purchased this, that's fine. We can
I'm
take
mostly
it back.
confused because it looks like it would, like to me it looks like it would be the same as I'm buying a potion, and I'm like, okay, I get what that is, but I don't know what that means. Like, a potion is missing a key descriptor, and that's what I feel like the mutagen is missing a key descriptor.
It is basically it's an alchemical item.
Okay.
A consumable alchemical item. It's not that different from a potion, although these look a little bit. These are not like in a bottle. They are like almost like strange foodstuffs.
Okay.
And wrapped in like wax paper.
Sure.
And they were sold to you by like a bit of a peddler of sorts, an elvish peddler who was happy to sort of find someone interested in his
Willing to
strange
eat it.
wares.
Yeah. Strange wares.
Did someone write down what it does? Okay, so
It just says mutagen.
it
Yeah, no. we
it
didn't.
temporarily modifies your physical body. Like
Yeah.
it is like a polymorph effect.
Okay.
And basically you become very swift and nimble as your limbs lengthen and shrink, but you become fragile. So you get a
Is there a name? Like is
yes, it is a quicksilver mutagen.
Okay.
There's a big downside though.
Yeah, so you basically get a +2 bonus to a bunch of dexterity stuff like acrobatics and stealth and thievery. You get a +10 boost to your speed, but as long as you have this mutagen active, you cannot recover hit points.
Scary.
How and does it have a length? Of
10 minutes.
That's fine.
This is a moderate.
There's most of the time for 10 minutes I don't need to recover hit points, so that's fine.
True. The majority of this campaign, even.
That's
we haven't
right.
Needed to recover.
Literally all day today.
If we're looking at 10-minute increments,
What's
such
the?
a low percentage.
How much does this cost?
It was like a couple. Wasn't like it was like less than
12.
12 gold.
Yep.
That was actually more expensive than that.
Yeah. 12 gold. It's up to you. You do not have to purchase it.
Oh, it sounds great.
Is it plus? You said +10 to speed.
+10 to speed for 10 minutes.
+2 to rolls.
+2 to all dex rolls.
-2.
But it's got a pretty nasty side effect.
Yeah.
-2 penalty of fortitude saves. You take damage equal to twice your level when you take it.
Yeah, it literally wrenches your body apart as it reforms you into something
Dead Space
agile.
style.
Yeah, a little bit. Except it wears off.
Yeah.
Dead Space, not so much.
I don't know, they're-
Is this the lesser version?
Moderate.
Moderate. Oh. Imagine.
I can think of a couple of situations where it could be very useful.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a kind of a weird item. I couldn't help but include it. I just thought it was really fun.
I'm tempted by it too, to be honest.
We thought that the weirdness was something that Tor might be interested in. That's why we marked it down.
Something I think Tor is game for, though maybe not excited. Tor is probably not as excited about the weird food stuff as Caleb is. But Caleb is excited about the weird food stuff.
So, let's see. Where were we? Runar. Some things come to mind that this creature could be. Nothing. You don't know enough about it to be sure about almost anything. But you're unlike Redrick. Your mind goes to more of the sort of fiendish side of things. There are some devils devils and demons that come to mind that could fulfill sort of what is being described here. Incorporeal creatures that can fly and are quite hard to pin down in the darkness. There's a specific type of demon called a shadow demon that you think it could be, possibly, although you've never seen one before. There's even there are even some sort of angelic hosts that it technically could be,
Seems unlikely.
although that is
Given our opponents.
questionable.
We're actually the bad guys.
You think it's more likely that it's something like an Invidiac, which is a type of shadow demon that are quite powerful and quite hard to pin down in the dark. That is, if it is, of course, a fiend or a demon.
Sounds like someone that's really into graphics cards.
I'm so happy your mind went there too.
Yeah.
That was
I also heard the video
and
the
its
first
name
time.
is Jensen.
That did not even occur to me, but yeah, it makes perfect sense. And then, Rex, you are overwhelmed by possibilities. I think you didn't get a great look at it, whatever it is. And I think the issue with your attempt to recall is that you're not that you can't think of anything; it's that you can think of too many things. With what little you know about it, it could just be so many different creatures that it's hard for you to pin anything down.
Valid.
So, obviously, you're welcome to do whatever you'd like with your day. The revelry does not appear to slow down at all, and if you don't choose to do anything else, it will continue well into the night.
I would probably just continue on. I feel like I might even find myself kind of embedded in a group by the end where, I don't like if there's some kind of like drinking game that starts up, I would just sort of like slowly fall into that, and by the end it would just be like dark out, and I would look around and be like, how long have we been doing this?
Yeah, if I would have noticed that it seemed like none of the people, especially if I saw like, I assume that Asuriel would also be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I notice that like everybody is like just hanging around, it becomes very apparent to me that we aren't leaving today.
Yeah.
And that the things that I need are going to be here tomorrow, and that anybody I would talk to would be here anyways.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be something similar to what Tor ends up doing, except for I'd probably look to gauge where the like where the like Kiliar types and whatnot end up, because I'd like to try to like mingle with more of the like the like scouts, the huntsmen, the people who would be like out on the ground and know the terrain better. And I wouldn't be into it with like any sort of like super specific objective, but I'd probably exchange like conversations and stories with them and try to learn from them, first of all, some of the like aspects of like navigating, hunting, tracking within the swamp, and then also I guess a bit for the northern witchwood, because I probably, while I would have dabbled, I probably wouldn't have been ever like this far north. So if I get any information from them in terms of that, while just like in casual conversation exchanging, like tales of hunts and whatnot.
Make a society check for me.
Oh, I'm so good at these. I'm so not good at these.
Oh, okay.
So I could take, it's a flat roll no matter what. So I could hero point it. And it could be better.
Honestly, the odds are in your favor that it will be better.
I shall hero point it. Because it's single digits.
Ah.
It is better.
It's
Cocked.
so cocked for sure. It's
I don't think it is. Can you push it flatter?
No, it's not cocked. But I swear it looked like it was.
It did.
cocked.
I also.
From this angle, it did
swear
too.
it looked like it. I mean, it still does, but when I
That's
turned
why I
it,
just
If
play.
you pull it away from the wall, can you make it flatter?
That's why I just play bump rules.
no.
The table, whatever it sits on.
Okay, it's still just the flat roll, so it's 15.
Okay, that's enough to get a little bit of information. Something you notice is that the folks you're looking for tend to come and go as they kind of take turns on patrol above the hill. So they're fairly easy to spot if you pay attention to who's leaving and who's coming from the south, where the nests are. You find, especially after the absinthe comes out, you find that they're more than pleased to share stories with you. Do you speak Elvish?
Nope.
They it takes a little while, but eventually when they find that you actually know what you're talking about, they are open to sharing in common, and tell some stories with you and trade. And you find that even some of the non-hunters are interested in hearing the tales. Some of the things you don't pick up a ton about the swamp, but something you do pick up is based on some of the stories where the elves lose their mounts and find that they're on foot. It seems as though swimming can be dangerous in the swamp, not because of necessarily the water being dangerous. It's clean actually, but because it's so thick with reed and vine and muck that it can be quite easy to get stuck. And it won't drown you, but based on some of the stories with close calls, it's not great when you're hunting or being hunted when you suddenly find that you cannot flee or you cannot get away. And so it seems as though you gather that it may be a better idea in shallow waters to find a boat than it is, or fly, obviously, than it is to try to swim.
That is very good to know.
I also want to ask Stellaria if she thought there would be anyone who'd be willing to, anyone who's I guess bold or antsy enough to come with us, someone who would be interested in maybe being our guide, or helping us. If there's I'm just thinking if there's someone who's been saying, oh, we need to do something about this, or anyone who I might be able to talk to.
She immediately looks like she's about to say no.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall the day before,
I did ask
before. She said something similar.
Yes.
But before she kind of gives her immediate response, you see her gather herself a little bit, and she says, as her eyes sort of flick over across the room to Trilara, she says, perhaps I am the wrong person to be asking.
What did you ask her?
I asked her if there's anyone who'd be willing to travel with us and serve as a guide.
Okay.
Do you think this is the wrong time to ask, or should I wait? Would it be best to wait for another time tomorrow, or strike while the iron is hot?
I think it matters little when you ask. We are all reveling. We are all enjoying the memory of our colleague, our friend, our brother. To ask a favor now would not be an ill omen. It would not be looked down upon. At least not in your present regard. Yes.
Thank you. And I will head over to speak with Trilara when it looks like she's got a minute. Not going to butt into a conversation, but when seems like she's available.
Go ahead and make a diplomacy check,
Okay.
and again add 5.
Hero point that. 18.
18. Okay. I assume you ask about the same thing.
Yes.
Trilara seems to be in a great mood, and who celebrates alongside everyone else. You get almost the same feeling from her immediately. Like she's about to say something, and then she stops. And she says, "We have friends among us that I think would be willing to take you to the very edge of these red hand intruders that you speak of. They will not take up arms with you, but they will help you get there, and they will help you flee should you wish. I think there are some among us that are emboldened by your hunting skills from before, and think you can do what you say you want to do. I wouldn't assume as much, but I think you should be given the opportunity." Two elves, two of my brethren, will guide you, should you wish it. But you must leave soon. I wish to get back to normal. And I think you do too. Your peers, and she sort of looks around the room, some of them feel eager. Perhaps her eyes alight on Davian for a moment. From across the room. I think it better that we follow our instincts in this matter. But later. Come to me later, and we'll make sure your guides are provided.
I thank you for your help and hope that I did justice to you and your brother earlier today.
Even now, I write the lines of your poem in my memory. A sweet thing that you've done. But again, no more of that. Drink. Eat. Enjoy the festivities.
Okay, I will give her a bow and take my leave then.
I will take time during this day to work on some crafting as well,
Okay.
since I don't want to spend all day drinking and then eating something.
And even the elves, they take
They leave,
breaks and
yeah.
they leave and they
I
come
figured
back.
it's okay for them, it's okay for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll spend today on a craft. I actually get to roll because I have the formula for this, so I can just see if I make it today.
We get back to our resting place. There's a bunch of freaking paper airplanes. Dude, just practicing origami.
Yeah.
Magical paper airplanes, okay? They do loops.
Listen,
It's pretty cool.
I didn't say they were bad. I said they were paper airplanes.
And I'm just letting you know they're magical. That's all.
Maybe they're paper dragons instead. Airplane feels like he wouldn't be.
It's a pretty good
constructing that
point.
at that point. Paper gliders.
Paper birds.
Paper birds. Paper cranes.
But cranes can't. I mean, yes, for the origami aspect. If you threw them, I imagine they would go at least some distance.
Maybe that's why he's working on them.
That's fair.
I should have bought a recipe for Sure Strike. What was I thinking? I have okay crafting.
Level one
Missed
scroll.
opportunity.
You need for level 1 scroll. You need a 15
Oh, that's so easy.
for level 1 scroll.
So, do you all intend to do anything to do something tonight, or are you waiting until the next day?
Well, speaking, my thoughts would be to have things prepared for tonight, so that we leave really early, and we get there around dawn tomorrow. If that makes sense. That
Leave tonight.
leave like late tonight. Well, I guess it depends how long it takes
Post
to get
party.
there.
You won't have your weapon.
Ah.
Oh,
Okay.
If that's
or a guide, because they party, or they celebrate late into the evening, right?
it's unclear what Trilara meant. She may have meant that you could have guides even tonight, but it's not totally clear.
Well, never mind then.
I think it'd be good to wait for your weapon.
Oh yeah, I'm up.
I shan't leave.
Yeah.
You'll leave without me before I leave
Yeah.
without my glaive.
So definitely we're waiting until the next day for.
Okay. Well, that gives you some time. The revelry does last late into the night, much past sunset. But eventually, the island quiets, and all the elves rest. And in the morning, it's back to business as usual.
I'm going for my craft.
I also would certainly, at some point during that celebration,
So 2.
try to start or participate in / both some degree of
6 or higher.
dexterity and acrobatics based
Shit.
games with the elves. Like similarly to how I was like flipping the cup on my glaive before.
Yeah.
Like some other, maybe even with the like bow, like trying to like do something like balance like a utensil and like flip it from side, like something that would be very challenging and very
what if you don't
entertaining
use the
for
hero
people that are
Well, then
extremely dexterous.
I think what you would
I am
find
such a piece
is
of
that many
frustration.
of the children
Yep.
who are probably older than you
Mhm.
would would be very interested in kind of even if you just made it up on the spot,
It would
they'd be
happen at
interested
some
in like trying to beat you at these games.
Just do it. I just did it.
Yeah, but like
Lenny did it.
the last time I wasted my hero point, I died.
Sorry.
So
But
Means
not,
you can't have
not
Oh,
in
what
this
happened?
campaign.
I rolled natural 1 out of saving throw after fighting a dragon.
No, I mean, why? What did you roll that you were
My
thinking?
crafting check.
Oh,
I needed a 6 or higher. I rolled a 3.
Just
Do
roll
it.
Do it.
Do it.
That's age.
what is the side effect of rolling a 3?
I lose half the cost of the item.
Oh yeah,
That's a disaster.
It's only
Do
3.5
it.
gold.
That's worse than
that's
death.
not terrible.
Worse than death.
Look, it's just a hero play.
Siobhan, if your character dies, you can make a new character.
Yeah.
You cannot make new gold.
True.
Is that true? When your character comes with free gold.
There you go.
So
All the
even
more reason
not to do it.
I'm arguing against
Fox
myself
is
here.
printing money.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Like you mean you
Such
have
bad
new
influence.
you have new equipment as well. We sell all of your old characters. We're just net up.
I guess guidance.
You know, I'm not gonna do it because I still want to try tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Relief.
But you could make something else tomorrow.
Yeah, well.
Tor,
Wasteful.
is there anything you are interested in shopping for? I don't know if we talked about this, but there are many elven goods here in the market.
I think I would most. So I'll be honest. I don't know a great deal of stuff that would be good for my character. Probably. I think I know less good stuff for Tor than Tor knows for Tor. But probably better armor. But
Never
I
mind.
suspect.
I don't lose any money.
Roll it anyway.
Yeah, hero point again for interrupting.
You have to critically fail to lose the money.
Yes, well,
Sorry, I didn't interrupt
you
you.
take a minus 2.
Probably new armor, but I suspect
It's only 10%.
armor with or I guess what the runes for armor, but I suspect those are
Very expensive.
Listen, you can get a leather armor +1 for 160.
It's
I
true.
think it's within budget.
I would pass for now.
If you need one in the future, I can also make those.
They, apart from some +1 armor, they do have two. There's two specialty armors that the actual very talented elven smiths makes. Leaf weave armor and also moonlit chain.
What is leaf weave armor?
Leaf weave armor is like enchanted magically enriched leaves made into armor. I think it's the only difference between it and like normal. I think it's leather armor is that when it breaks, its penalty is less because it can be very easily repaired.
And then were there any particular goods as far as just sort of like magical items?
Let me see. There were okay. So they had +1 armor, +1 striking weapons, ghost touch, returning and shifting weapon runes.
Yeah, those were cool.
Boots of Elvenkind, cloaks of Elvenkind, slippers of spider climbing, and then they had potions of invisibility and potions of water breathing.
What are boots of Elvenkind?
Arboreal boots.
Arboreal boots.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Good.
They're very good.
So it was those boots and then cloak of Elvenkind.
I believe is also Legacy. I forget what the new name is.
Cloak of Illusions.
Yeah, that's what
Sounds right to me.
Give me a second to try to click on the right combination of things so that this gives me the information I'm looking for. Nope. Okay. Search for Figment it is. I think I will pass for today. I need to figure out scrolls and potions that might be useful, but we can talk about that off. We can talk about that not at the table.
Did they have any? It's an occult, divine, arcane spell. Scroll of See Invisibility.
Yeah, so I'm looking for something as well.
I was gonna say I have one from when I bought it in another town, but there was. I feel like that'd be pretty good if more than one of us had it.
True.
If we get to a sufficiently large body of water, I can see invisibility. SEA.
Technically,
I'm like, where's the
Davian.
button for it?
Yeah,
Should see invisibility as
It was
well.
tough to spot.
Oh, you're right.
I definitely didn't
What?
see it.
Davian can see invisibility because he has that tremor or infrared vision.
Wait, did they rename See Invisibility? They did.
See the unseen. Yeah.
That seems unnecessary.
They do not have that.
How about fairy fire?
Has that been renamed?
I understand why
Yeah.
they rename
I don't
everything,
know what it is though.
but it does make this part of
Probably.
the game so much harder.
Yeah.
Maybe it hasn't been renamed. I don't know what.
I can't find the equivalent of a sunlight spell in this game.
Daylight.
Daylight?
Daylight, yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's what it's called in.
How did that not come up in any of my searches?
That's what it was called in 5e at least. Sun.
Maybe it's not a thing.
Daylight.
There's dark light.
Dark light.
Fairy fire might just not be a spell.
Daylight.
It's
dark light.
It's a legacy spell, so I assume it's still good.
I think legacy spells are still valid as long as they have a
Yeah.
new version.
the divine occult primal spell.
This is the daylight spell?
Fairy fire.
Oh.
Same thing.
Oh, the dawn light spell. That seems like. Oh, but it's legacy content? What the fuck?
Really? Huh.
I love.
But it's.
My favorite thing is that they don't link to the new version.
Oh, it's an
They,
item.
it said it said that it should link to the old, or maybe the old stuff will link to the
The
new
old link's
stuff.
the new, I think.
Oh, you find that.
Fairy fire?
Yeah, guys, okay if I dip into the fun for that? 'Cause that's very. I figure that's a pretty high value one time thing to throw at this guy.
What? How does it cost?
16 gold is not a lot.
Too much. I can also cast something called See. Wait, can I cast it too? See the Unseen is Divine?
Yeah,
What level spell is it?
2.
I can cast it if we needed to too. But it doesn't mean that a scroll isn't still useful. I'm okay with buying it, I
Yep.
guess.
Cheap
Okay.
enough.
Alright.
Plus it prevents me from having to use my only level 2 spell slot.
Yeah, that's what I
So.
figured too. It's pretty.
I also do have an Everlight crystal or some such
Oh, I saw
thing.
that spell too.
Mm.
The ever burning torch that is no longer
Yeah,
fire.
let's say I got one of
Oh.
those too.
Is it,
That's a
I'm
nice
looking
item.
for
Yeah.
a miniature thing.
That is cool.
I send you a link in Slack.
The ever,
Okay.
Cause it,
Everlight
there's a bunch of
glow
different
stick.
kinds.
Everlight, yeah,
That's
Everlight
the
glow
latter
stick.
one.
Oh.
Sweet.
So we will have.
I don't know if we'll
It's a
have
good
it
thing
or
you
not,
spotted that.
Oh,
we have
that's interesting.
contingencies now.
but Based on what you described about well, I guess what you described about this place seems like it might be useful.
I feel like this is also a good place to find this. Weirdly, it seems like in line with
Yeah.
sort of.
I feel like they could certainly have it.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. But I could just make it if I wanted to.
Yeah.
If
kind of-
only you weren't already making something else tomorrow.
That's
true.
This is like the most Zod item.
It is. I saw that. Like that is such a Zod item. Yeah. Well, it's like your tree in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else with that you'd like to do with the day?
I want to go pick up my glaive if I can.
Yes. Both of the weapons are completed today.
So, when I get there, I would like to first. First I want to, because Suriel's never worked with a glaive. she
Correct.
said, and I specifically paid a little bit of extra for her to also stylistically alter it in addition to silver it.
Yep.
So, I would definitely, once I get to her bag, first gauge her level of either triumph or disgust with her output. Like if she was like, it didn't turn out how she like, basically looking at a craftsman and see if she's like, oh, I killed this, or if she's like, I mean, I did it, but I don't love it.
She seems really happy
Yeah.
with the result of the glaive.
Mm-hmm.
She seems
Oh.
fine with the result of the axe.
I didn't ask for embellishments.
And it doesn't look very embellished. It just it's clearly what you paid for was accomplished.
Okay. Cool.
But it was not done with like. She makes it very clear she had trouble with this weapon. She said it just doesn't make sense why anyone would make a weapon like this. But she still thanks you for the opportunity to try it. She says that she'll probably not work with dwarven make weapons again, but
Can't get better if you don't try.
So
the glaive though looks really good. She's clearly proud of it.
he can whistle. I can't.
What'd you get done to the glaive?
So she has. I also exchanged my bow for a little bit of money for the same type of bow, but her craft. So it's like very elegant. It's just elven make, and I had her alter. First, I had it silvered because silvered better against
The weapon, not the bow. Right.
yes the weapon, not the bow. And then I also was like, I mean, like this is a master craftsman. How many opportunities am I gonna have for this? And had her like just be a master craftsman here.
Oh, sure.
Work
yeah.
with this
Just
and
make this better.
yeah, make it however like add whatever style that you deem fit to it.
Yeah.
Her choice of motif for the weapon is the swift, the bird. And so that's a repeated pattern throughout all of the engraving and design of the weapon, which is like a very slight, very quick bird. I don't know if you're familiar with what a swift looks like, but
yeah. So after
she mentioned that like the shape of the blade reminded her of like the wings of a swift, and that's why she decided to go with that motif.
looking at it, that is absolutely incredible. And I like weigh it, and it just feels like a little more. It just feels like a little more like I'm gonna use like ergonomic, but like that's not necessarily the word I'm looking for. It just feels like
The
it
balance
has a better,
is just
like, balance and flow to it. He sits there in thought for a moment. I think I'll call this the first wing of a Suriel. And I could just like clank it and look up with like a satisfied look, especially with her work.
I couldn't have named it better.
I certainly couldn't have made it better.
Now I feel like I need to do like a mock-up of this weapon. I feel like I should have done some design here. Maybe we can save that for later.
Yeah. And that will achieve my objective.
Okay.
Certainly. Aside from, I guess, maybe, unless he goes, well, I'm out getting the glaive, maybe joining him for figuring out who our guides are going to be.
Yeah.
And planning that.
Yeah. Pretty much exactly as promised. It seems as if you do take the time today to approach her, she will have already identified 2 elves that are both willing and excited to help you on your
We're being dropped
Your
off
quest.
the flying mount, or am I crazy?
No,
Oh, fuck. Okay, great.
no, they're taking boats.
Cool. Oh, yeah, I do remember that now.
That's really nice to have boats.
But yeah. I guess, well, never mind.
And people who know how to use said boats well.
Where's Wickham? You need him.
Just needs to he's making smaller boats.
Probably becoming ill with it as we speak.
Yeah.
Alright, Nero, calm down.
The facts is the facts.
Alright, so do we know how long does it take to get there by boat? Estimated?
Oh, that's a good question. It's several hours.
Oh, that's it. I thought it was gonna be days. This is good news.
It is faster by boat than walking.
I think they would tell you. I think maybe they mentioned this, that if you were to try to navigate yourself, it would be double or triple the time.
I can see like following a river or like an outlet and then finding it's a dead end, having to double back and having to try and fucking figure out the right way to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe that's something you noticed when you were on.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Flying,
Yeah.
surveying, yeah.
I think a bird would also make that probably a bit better.
I did get to fly the path. at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, that too.
And then we were able to fly there and back over the span of a single evening, so it makes sense that it wouldn't be too far
That's the
on
perfect.
the boat.
Well, when do we want to leave? Do you want to leave in the nights we get there at dawn, or do you want to do something else?
I guess we would defer to our guides depending on what they.
Oh, well, they will tell you that the lizard folk do tend to be active in the night, and less so in the day.
Now's a good time to leave. Then.
Not necessarily, no guarantee, but they suspect that if you were to go at night, you would certainly be, you would definitely run into them. If you go into the day, hard to say. It's, the swamp is they don't know what you're trying to get to, but they know that the lizard folk are everywhere. So if they were trying to avoid them, they would go during the day.
So we might want to leave first thing the next day.
I mean, what time of day do we get our weapons?
First
in the morning, right? So we could leave today if we wanted to.
Yeah. So the weapons are finished in the early afternoon, and they tell you. I mean, they're happy to take you there, and let you approach on foot. Earlier, so you can watch from afar. They're not going to row you right into the thick of things, So it's whenever you want to get there, they're happy to help.
So it'll take. So if we're leaving, assuming early afternoon, we get there around a little before dusk by the sounds of it, because it only takes 3 or 4. You said a few hours.
Yeah, you would get there by dusk.
I think it's worth going then, because we'll at least on our travels at least we'll avoid lizard men, and when we get there it's okay, well,
plus we're not wasting time sitting here doing nothing when we could be moving.
right.
So that was a good thing. So I won't have time to craft today probably then, which is okay. Is this gonna take less than 8 hours to get there?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
And worst case scenario too, if we really wanted to, we could find a place to I don't know, if there's a place to hide and camp out, we could do that.
I'm assuming we'll almost certainly need to camp out if we want to actually approach the tower in daylight, right? If we travel at this point in the day, we're gonna get there at dusk, and then going actually to that pier proper, it'd be nighttime, right when we got to it, I would assume.
It also is the added, if we did that too, there's the added benefit that we could observe the area, and if there's a scheduled patrol, we'd be able to get the cadence of it potentially. So if I say everything points to leave early as soon as we can.
Yeah, we could do that. The counterpoint is the aspect of we go there and we give them, X amount of night hours to discover that we are going to be approaching the fortress proper.
True. Anyway, you look at it, there's a downside, so as far as I'm concerned, we might as well just
I'm fine with going.
not waste time.
Fine with heading out.
Okay. So when do you decide to ask to arrive on the outskirts of the lake?
I mean,
Before dusk.
As soon as
before
possible.
dusk, yeah.
Okay.
As fast as they can get us there, I would say.
But it seems like if our swords aren't, if our weapons aren't ready into the afternoon, that they won't get us. Well, I guess I said, you said it was less than 8 hours, not how many hours it was.
So the soonest they could get you there is right at dusk.
Okay. Well, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
they,
plan to get there at dusk, sleep, and then go in at dawn.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And they agreed. Did they agree to bring us back too? They wouldn't go all the way with us, but they would wait.
Yeah. On your way, or when you arrive, one of them gives you a little carved whistle.
Oh, okay.
And they just tell you that they'll be around. They're going to back off and then do some fishing, and then but they'll be nearby enough to come pick you up if they hear the whistle.
And I guess I'd also ask them / if there's a quick opportunity, ask Kiliar of any tips for subtly camping in the swamp through the night.
Yeah, I mean they'll tell you just don't start a fire, don't burn anything.
Yeah.
Everything's too wet to burn without a lot of smoke.
Okay.
And you should be fine.
It's warm, too.
It's warm, and also it's noisy out here. No one's going. You're not going to get. No one's going to hear you make camp or anything. But you should try to find a place surrounded by reeds, so you have some visual coverage, because it's fairly flat out here.
Okay.
But as you sort of head out, you don't think that's going to be a problem, because there are like little copses of trees and tall reeds almost everywhere.
Okay.
It is wild compared to seeing it from an owl a couple days ago, how maze-like it feels on the surface. And you're sort of glad that you're not trying to. You think you could do it, especially with the knowledge you've gained from above, but it would not have been pleasant. Not to mention, you would have probably been trudging, yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
So you arrive at dusk, just as sort of at the very edge of your vision, you can see like the tip of the tall building at the center of the lake.
For the record, I assume it's not bringing Felder on one of these boats isn't really practical.
No.
Okay, so right as we're leaving, I'm just gonna touch Felder and suck him into under my cloak.
Okay.
Right, so forget that. That's why it needs to be faster than 8 hours.
Oh, I
This
see.
lasts for 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, so you arrive.
8 hours.
Basically, yeah. Actually, boom, in the water. Oh, fell off.
Just in the boat, like crammed in there, like 4 people and now a giant goat.
Yep.
And you recognize the lake in front of you, the one you saw from high above on Owlback. The lake's about 2 miles wide. Now that you're here on the ground, you can see. It's quite dark, and it smells here it smells of rot, but not of rot of creatures, but of vegetation. And the air is sort of thick with a sort of an ooze, like a swamp ooze, like the smell, and it's almost foggy with it.
It's like decay, like a smell of decay.
And humidity, and as predicted, the sound of insects and marsh birds and frogs is everywhere around you, and really covers any sort of footfalls that you might make, but also makes it very hard to hear if anything's coming.
Yeah.
You can see in the distance, like I said, just the tips of those stone buildings coming out of the middle of the lake. 2 of them having survived, relatively well. And you can kind of see in your mental image where the wooden walkways are around their edges. And as you sort of begin your walk to slowly try to find a camping place, it begins to rain.
Sick.
Bright out wet. That's good. It's even louder.
Can I keep us dry?
That's a good question. You could probably keep yourself dry. I don't know if you can keep everyone dry.
I have a 10-foot radius aura.
I think probably.
That's a banger of a radius.
That is.
Yeah.
That's not diameter. That's a 10-foot radius.
That's not for Felder either.
It's not a lot in combat, but in hanging out on boats.
To me, that feels very reasonable.
Yeah.
I think probably there's only so much you can do in terms of the ground being a bit damp, underfoot. But I think you can keep yourselves from actually getting soaked to the bone.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I was thinking if we like absolutely had to, I could like slowly dry us or freeze us a path, but it wouldn't be fat. Like if we were trying to escape from combat, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't get us out of there quickly. But if we just like for whatever reason wanted to keep our feet clean or realistically not leave tracks.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I know. We don't leave tracks.
Because he's cool like that.
Yeah.
Is this underbrush?
I don't know actually.
Oh, this is a swamp.
But I also don't know if we just don't leave tracks.
Oh.
I mean, I don't.
Also, it's like a swamp. I'm not too worried about leaving tracks in
Right.
a swamp.
Well,
While it's raining
Not
too.
just any natural terrains. Trackless journey is not favorite terrain specific.
Oh, neat.
It's just when you move through natural terrains, you are hard to track and you always gain the benefits of covered tracks without moving at half your speed.
Like the artificial swamp.
Yeah.
Actually, this was handmade.
Crafted over decades by those people.
But initially, I'll like it starts to rain. I'll like throw my hood up and I'll look over and Tor's not wet. And I'll like look down.
It would
I'll
probably
just-
hit you at first.
Yeah.
Until I noticed like people like sort of like bending their heads and like putting their hoods up or something, and then you just quickly like stop hearing it patter, and it
But there's
like
still,
your brain is trying to process, did it stop raining?
but,
then
but it's
it's
still
raining.
just drops in the water everywhere
Yeah.
around us.
Yeah.
Like I would think. Nice work, Tor.
What does it do? Does it like fan away from you, or does it like evaporate?
So I think I can make water just disappear,
Oh.
or I can move water.
Equivalent exchange.
I feel like in the case where I'm not trying to like make a spectacle of it, it would just stop.
Yeah.
Like it would just come down and then it wouldn't be there anymore. There are probably other times where I like having it sort of be this like trickle down globe
Like
that
Katara
looks
and-
very fancy.
The Avatar.
Yeah. But no, here it just sort of stops, and I just look over and I'm like the precipitation is worse when it's not solid. It's like we're just used to snow, and like snow falling on you, fine, whatever. Like I probably never really did that, but like getting soaked is not necessary. It's not always it's not a pleasant experience. Maybe in a swamp when it's this humid, and everything's just sort of icky anyway. Plus, I give us air conditioning.
Yeah. That's great.
So, that's awesome.
I'm just a climate control thing.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm imagining. Everybody sits down. Everyone's happy. Everyone's like ready to rest for the evening. Tor falls asleep.
Yeah.
That is-
Yes, this is what I was thinking.
Everyone's just like, oh no.
I would probably honestly like stay awake for like a while, just like making sure that it's like doing my best to keep everyone comfortable.
It's like the first watch.
Do we,
Yeah.
in finding a spot to make camp, do we need to bring whatever boat with us that we would use to get out to the tower on the lake to Old Rest?
They do not give you a boat.
Oh, they just are like, they dump us and they're like, figure out a boat for yourself? Alright.
Can we make landfall in a place that's connected to land to get to there? Or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's all easily traversed on foot up to the lake from where they drop you. They make sure they drop you in a place that's I guess without blockers to travel further
We
north.
would likely require a boat to get to.
If you ask about it,
Yes.
they tell you that well, one, no way you're carrying a boat without being seen. Two, you're not the only people that need boats. Like if you need a boat, take one. Like the lizard folk do not swim generally. They take boats. They can swim, but they don't.
We'll
Normally.
blend in,
Well, like,
but
they're
if
not
we use more of their
swimming,
boats anyway.
Yeah.
We can do like the cap with the when they do in Pirates of the Caribbean where they put under the water.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because
Does Tor have dark vision?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I was thinking we could spend a few minutes, spend a little bit. Someone who's very stealthy could spend a little bit of time just scouting the edge of the lake.
The thought might have occurred to me. However, the man who goes invisible also occurred to me before I suggested it.
also the man who goes invisible who has a bird.
And dark vision, right? No, he also doesn't have
He
dark
doesn't have
vision.
dark vision. He's not one of
Oh,
the-
you're saying you scouted it. Okay.
You can either see stuff or not see stuff.
Yeah.
Or
You
not
can either
be
see
seen.
stuff or be invisible. No,
Not
no
both.
law.
Is invisibility a self-only spell?
I don't know.
Mine is.
I don't cast spells.
I don't
He's
think
so
it is. I
he's
think
so-
I don't think it is.
I think if you have a special ability, it might be. But
So you guess that's somebody who does have dark vision, and then boom.
Yeah, but swamp is a special terrain. I would have had to take another.
Mhm.
I guess could I have
To
bought
get the
like a
super
scroll
ability.
of dark
Deviate
vision?
cast
Is that a
invisibility, I
thing?
think.
It is.
it definitely is. Let me see if they'd have it.
Davian would also definitely cast invisibility.
There's a feat,
Yeah.
there's a feat that I as someone who's like not
It's a
as
second level spell.
as like planning ahead in this whole like in all of my actions in this campaign, there's a feat that's basically like 4 times a day you can have in the past bought an item.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, that seems like the most
It's a-
player useful
it's a-
thing.
That's not the most Zod thing I've ever
It's true.
heard.
It's a general feat.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I
It's
love
one of the-
that.
yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
I,
a-
I'm guessing
so
I'm guessing it's only mundane stuff though, so it wouldn't,
Yes.
it wouldn't work here.
Yeah.
But it is just like, yeah, I definitely bought
The
a
crowbar.
pack of a crowbar because I figured we would probably have to open the store.
Right. Yeah, it's exactly what it does.
They do sell scrolls of dark vision.
Could I have purchased one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, actually,
Because that like now realizing like Tor does a lot of scouting, and having dark vision as a scout sure seems like something.
Yeah, I
um,
can tell you it is good.
much more likely for their method of crafting,
4 times as good.
they would have had dark vision elixirs, not scrolls.
Sure. Do they have any like dark vision goggles?
Oh, I don't think so, but what are those called?
That'd be interesting. Don't the elves have dark vision in Pathfinder?
I think they might not have one.
Obsidian
They have low
goggles?
light, and I think certain ones do.
I think it's like for like tieflings, you
That's
start with
fair.
low light and you take a feat to get dark vision, so maybe the same thing with elves.
Correct.
Yeah, they do not have goggles of dark vision.
Okay.
What do you know? Suspicious.
How much is a level 2 spell scroll?
Well, like I said, they don't have the scrolls,
Or elixir?
I think
but the elixirs are 6 gold.
Yeah.
Oh, that's-
those.
They have both the lesser and the moderate. The lesser are 10 minutes for 6 gold. The moderate are 11 gold for 1 hour.
They cannot take a feat to get dark vision.
I will buy. I will buy.
Perhaps a heritage
Yeah, exactly.
I think
and an ancestry feat.
we'll do 2 of the moderate.
Cavern elf.
Okay.
I mean, that would make sense.
Doesn't that sound like an insult?
It could.
You damn tree dwarf.
To a high elf, if you called him a cavern
Tree
elf,
dwarf.
yeah, it might
It's the opposite. It's the opposite of a cavern elf. If one's insulting, so is the other one.
Tree dwarf.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Tree Dwarf sounds like a really bad D&D name. I am Tree Dwarf.
Did you say tree dwarf or like tree dwarf?
DORF.
You gonna ask? Oh.
Can you spell that for me? My language is unwritten. Okay, Tree Dwarf. How much is the gold that we got in the chest? Was that added to the spreadsheet?
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Tabby cast invisibility on Rex, by the way.
Oh yeah. Davian will just cast invisibility on me.
Okay.
It's only 10 minutes though.
Yes, 10 minutes.
I mean, am I gonna get very far along the edge of the lake in 10 minutes before he does that?
Probably not.
Yeah. It's irrelevant.
God, good eyesight.
But he casts it, and for 10 minutes,
I'm invisible.
I can't see you.
You could at least walk up to the edge of the lake and walk or look a little bit along the shoreline with a clear view.
I mean, I could just do that while sneaking. That's like 10 minutes.
He's gonna regen his spell slots after we long rest anyways. Might as well be invisible.
I guess. I'll do it.
Do it.
And when we get attacked tonight and he has one spell slot missing,
We'll be fine.
it's on you.
I mean, and down 2 hero points.
What do you mean?
You guys used your hero points.
I have another one.
Yeah, we're still down 2 overall.
No.
Yeah.
We still have 3 hero points.
Yeah, that's true.
Down from 5.
It's a group pool.
I bet you we don't use them all.
Probably. I know. Well, you can just not use
I
yours as
bet
spite.
you we don't use them.
I hope. I hope you roll.
Of the
I hope you roll a
lake
death
and
saving
start
throw.
Scouting. Sorry, this is on the other side of the lake is Rest. Is that right?
No, it's in the middle.
In the middle. Oh, that's right, because it's sunken.
There are.
Okay, so this lake is what Old Rest used to be. Okay.
Yep.
So it's Atlantis now.
It is just ruins.
Yeah. Are we sure there aren't mermaids?
Nope.
Okay.
Can you ever really be sure?
So in other words, we're both invisible.
Okay.
I don't know where he went.
You hold hands.
Nope. I just started heading. I'm like, good
You
luck.
just feel me reach out for his hand.
If you walk too,
we have to interlace fingers to make sure.
if you walk too far away, you start getting wet. So I mean,
I will become visible before him because he can indefinitely stay invisible. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I will move up to the edge and head, I suppose, towards where the lizard huts were.
Okay.
Not super far away from our encampment.
Because they're around the lake, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
They're on the
try
banks.
to find on the shore anywhere. Try to identify any boats that are docked.
Okay. Both of you give me perception checks.
11.
28.
Okay. So you basically just see rain. Rain, and more rain. Are you keeping yourself dry still, the two of you?
No.
Okay.
Once we go invisible,
Okay.
Yep.
I'm letting it up.
You notice immediately through the gloom of the heavy rain lanterns. As you approach, you can see that they light a sort of slightly crooked hut on wooden stilts that is very near the edge of the lake. It's about 20 feet in, like 20 feet across. It's just made of like rotten wood planks, basically. It has a roof of sticks and branches covered with mud. The floor of the hut is maybe 3 feet above the surface of the water, right at the edge of the lake. And the obvious entrance, which is not a door but just a hole in the side, is accessed via a ladder that's been lashed together, and then stands on the shore of the bog on the edge of the lake.
Does it look like it could be a makeshift boathouse?
Well, judging by the lizard folk milling around, you guess that it's just their place to rest, their sleep, their living quarters. But you don't need to look much further for the boats. You can see them. There are 3 of them, just sort of sitting on the edge of the swamp, tied to the poles of the hut. The boats are not. They don't look to be of
Raft.
amazing quality. Yeah, they look more like rafts. They're large, flat-bottomed reed rafts. They don't look super well made. However, they do look like they float really well, and they look like they've been used recently. Because they're so wide, they're about 10 feet wide. You suspect maybe 4 of you could be on one raft together, without worrying about capsizing them. And you can kind of see, based on as the lizard folk kind of walk on and off of the rafts on the edge of the lake, you can see that they're pretty stable. And it looks like they're moved by pole as much as paddle. You can see both of them sort of resting in heaps on the sides of the bank of the lake.
And knowing that they're usually active, the lizard people are usually active at night. Are they moving? I see them moving around over there.
You do. Yeah, you can actually even see with your check, you can see just barely at the edge of your vision because of the rain. You can see to your to the west of you if you follow the bank, you can see another hut, very similar to the one you're nearby, and you can even see some movement. Basically, you can see the light of their lanterns going on and off as things walk in front of them. So evidently there are a number of these huts.
Okay.
The only other thing you notice is you can make out the tower from here, even in the rain, and you swear you see the glint of something shiny from the top of the tower, like something moving. At some point, Tor, you would notice, obviously, as you approach, you would notice the hut and the lizard folk.
The shiny thing on the tower, was that on the more... One of the towers is more...
One of them is like a crumbling building. The other is a true tower. It looks like a bell tower.
Okay.
And was glint on the bell tower?
Yes. Yeah, you can't really make out the other building from here. It's too rainy and dark for its height.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Did we get a sense? And I'm taking these notes because I assume that all these pieces of interest you would mention when it's clear that like I'm not able to make stuff out with the rain.
You're invisible.
Yeah, so
I
provided
don't
you
know.
can find one another.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the thing. I don't know how long it takes us to get within visual confirmation. I mean, my vision is a lot further, obviously, but the rain
I think
obscures it as well.
Just a couple of minutes is enough to get close, because you don't have to move slowly, because neither of you do, because between the rain, the sounds of the swamp and everything, no one's gonna hear you come in.
Okay.
That is weird.
Then
It's so smoky.
if we're close by each other, I would say that to you. As long as I wouldn't have like lost you.
Yeah,
I was
so-
thinking that I would have to like signal you to be able to find you, but no. If we're close enough, I'd relay the information quietly.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that we would like have set up some kind of method so that we don't just like we're not just going in divergent
Yeah.
directions. You know, maybe it would be even as simple as because like I imagine if we tie like a rope to each other, that rope would show up, right? If we do any
Sure.
auditory cues, we would hear it.
I
So
would tell you like a chirp noise that I'd be like imitating, like maybe like one of the like frogs that I'd been hearing.
I was gonna say the other thing is just like we pick something in the distance and say, go towards that, meet there, and then once we meet there, we pick the next one and sort of
Sure.
have those like checkpoints.
Either way. But we would establish movement plan, and I would let Tor know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can catch it, but something moving on the tower out there too. I'm guessing that these lizard folk are gonna be getting out on these rafts in the evening. But if we sneak here in the morning, it should be easy pickings.
That makes sense.
Rather than us take one now and they come look for us while we try to sleep.
Yeah. Do we have any sense of what they're doing in these huts?
Living. That's all I got.
As we approach the huts, does it look that way? Does it look like there's just a community of lizard folk?
Does look like that, yes.
Okay.
That's how it strikes you.
No, it's attacking him. I thought it was just sitting there housing lizards.
I
Didn't even get to roll
I
it.
just
I
killed
know.
the woman and the children.
We thought it was a house, but it's a full moon tonight.
There you go.
Okay, but we see something glint off the bell tower and maybe some movement. Is that right?
That's correct.
I'm assuming it's not consistent.
Mm-mm.
It's
You only
not
you only notice it once or twice.
Okay.
Is this where the shadow was?
The shadow creature
Yeah.
that I did not see during the flyover. This is my first time getting any sort of glimpse of its presence.
Do we see
It
any?
is on that tower.
Do we see any indication of mutated lizard folk?
No, these are. Well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen these lizard folk before, but they just look like humanoid lizards. They don't look mutated, and they certainly do not look like anything you fought before.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we would. And we're planning on being out here for a while, like watching them do stuff, right? Or
Yeah, for a bit at least.
yeah.
A couple minutes. I mean, you guys have what, 10 minutes of invisibility?
Yeah. Well,
He-
he's
yeah.
got basically
I can be out
in
here for-
perpetuity
Oh, okay.
For a while.
because
So-
it's non-combat.
Depends. I mean, you can stay out then as long as you want if you want to continue to look, but
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to do with your limited invisibility.
I would I would certainly just leave it up to Rex. If you even like once your invisibility fades, I mean you're plenty stealthy. If you want to stay out here, that's totally fine.
Yeah, prior to it fading, I mean, if we want, we could try and get a closer look and see what they're doing here, or if they're literally just encamped here. Might as well do it while we're both invisible.
Yes. Yes, let's look for anyone that looks like they may be important, but I suspect the important ones are in the lake.
Yeah, me too. You can give it a peek at this first one at least, though.
Do we see any houses that look particularly fancy, like the mayor's shanty or something?
No. They all look almost the same. Just sort of very. I mean, they're just huts basically, mud and wood huts.
It's when you see those, but then you see the one with the aluminum roof, and you're like,
Ha.
that's the thing.
That's the mayor of the Hooverville.
Okay, yeah, I would. I'd be up for going and taking a peek in one of the huts.
Yep.
Are both of you going to do that?
As long as I will do it relatively quickly.
Uh-huh.
Like I can't linger because I know that I've used part of my
Okay.
invisibility up. I would go as far as I could while I still would feel comfortable that I'd be able to get out of like the vicinity within time while still invisible.
Okay.
If it seems feasible.
No, it does seem feasible, but you will have to kind of be quick about it, but you can do
Yeah.
it. Give me. Well, I guess it depends. You're going to climb the ladder, both of you, or how do you want to do this?
Oh, we have to climb a ladder to do it?
Yeah, it's
you said 3 feet, right?
yeah.
Man, just a couple levels. I would let him go ahead, and I'll wait at the bottom. I don't know that there's a sense in both of us going in. I would just wait at the bottom, and I do think we would establish like an insect chirp,
Yeah.
so that if there's anyone that's coming up to the ladder, I could give you that, and you could let me know if something's going south up there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not that far off the top of the lake. So if you don't want to like climb inside, you don't technically have to use the ladder. You could just kind of peek in and look around. It's sort of up to you what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'd start with peeking around rather than climbing in. It feels like no reason to enter if I can see in without.
Yeah, but if you would see like papers or something, but this doesn't necessarily give me a written language sort of a vibe.
Exactly.
These creatures are you see them as you approach. You obviously like sort of avoid them, I assume. But you can peek inside and you see that it's a pretty it's a pretty sizable little hut, but it's just one big room, and there are lizard folk in here as you peek in. They don't look toward in your direction at all as you sort of peek into their hut. The 3 of them that are in here are just laying down.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them are sort of curled up with their tails around them into like a little ball almost, sleeping. Another is sort of poking around at one of the walls. It looks like he's trying to like weave something into the reeds of the wall. It smells pretty bad in here. And there's not much in here. There's sort of a mound of what look like bones and garbage, sort of like things picked out of the swamp that are stacked in the middle of the room, and it's clear like they're just using this as a place to get out of the rain and sleep.
Okay.
There's not much here.
And looking inside and the surrounding area, do I see anything like any sort of tools or implements that are noteworthy, or does it all just look like tools for daily life and other like of living on a lake?
Yeah, you see like a collection of materials for weaving, like reeds and vines and things like that. You see some crude weaponry. Nothing that you would say like that you'd want to use yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there are some like very crude spears that you see leaned up against the walls or laying on some of the rafts. But that's really it. There's some like tools like axes and knives and things like that, but that's it.
You said they were sleeping?
Some of them.
During the day.
Well, this is the beginning of night.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like
Sometimes I sleep in too.
Does it look like the ones that are like up and about seem to have recently, like
8 in the evening?
Well, woken up?
It looks it's unclear to you, but it looks like they're not really pleased with being out in the rain.
Yeah.
It looks like they're kind of hurrying about. Looks like maybe they're trying to. You see them congregating around one of the rafts, like maybe they want to go fish or something. But they don't seem to be super pleased to be out of their hut.
Gotcha.
What language are they speaking?
I think you said they speak Draconic.
Yeah, if you know Draconic, you'd understand
Nope.
Draconic. Otherwise, it would just sound sort of.
I speak civilized languages.
Depending on who you ask, Draconic's pretty civilized.
No one's been able to tell me that.
That's true. All
That is a really good point.
all dragons are Mary Sue's.
All dragons are Mary Sue's.
Yeah. Well, after I check that out, I would reconvene with Tor.
If we're just peeking in, I would peek in.
Go for it.
Do I see anything that looks like? You mentioned that the one of them is weaving stuff into the reeds of the walls. Does it look like this whole settlement is pretty recent in construction?
Yes, it does actually. Given that the huts are made of like reed and mud,
Yeah.
you suspect that if they were here for any length of time, they'd be much more rotten, but they're not. And the strange, I mean, even the inside of the hut seem to be fairly dry, despite the rain.
Do I see anything that looks like a religious symbol?
You see a lot of things that could be religious symbols. These creatures seem to have woven a lot of like little trophies or I don't even know what you'd call them, like little pendants and things out of what look like large owl feathers in some cases. In other cases, it's like reeds or shiny stones, or you swear you see some copper pieces, maybe even some silver pieces, sort of woven together in some of these little ornaments. If they certainly could be religious symbols, but you're not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think after that I would kind of wait if it, and I would probably just keep an eye out for any changes in behavior. But I'd be especially interested in anything coming or going from the tower.
Okay.
I forget what was said, but it made it sound like maybe they would go to the tower at night. Maybe I just interpreted something in my brain, said that'll happen, and maybe it won't.
They're active at night,
Yeah.
though we don't know. We will find out whether or not they go there. So I know that my invisibility would be running out.
Yep.
That's why I peeked in. Tor could have kept going. I would have went like, we'll say a safe distance away to somewhere that I could like hunker down out of sight, and I would keep an eye on the tower and also like keep an ear open for if Tor made a signal like he was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
How long would you like to sit and watch?
I would sit for through the. I'll hang out like up to 2 a.m. probably.
Okay.
If they start becoming active, if at that point that in Caleb's mind is time enough where I could probably still go back and get a night of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But if at that point they look like if at any point it looks like something is kind of stirring, or if they look like they're preparing, even if it would take all night, if there's indication that they might be doing something, like gathering up rafts, even if it ends up being like a large fishing expedition or something, like if they look like they're kind of gathering for something, I would just sit and watch.
Okay.
I would not wait the entirety. And if you made it clear, I mean, if you didn't make it clear, you would not find me back there.
Well,
If you
I
did
would
make it
I would
clear.
check back in with you, especially after you move back, and I would say like, I'll stay here as long as it seems like there might be more to learn. See if they head to the tower.
Alright. I'll probably take first watch at camp. But I will hang around for I don't know what time, like, relatively we arrive over here between when people would start rest.
Probably pretty soon after dark, I would imagine.
Old rest or new rest?
New rest. in this
Long
case.
rest, actually.
Yeah. So I would then, in that case, while people are getting ready to wind down and whatnot, I would probably stay on the shoreline, keeping an eye near the tower for a couple hours before returning to camp and taking first watch.
Okay. So in that first few hours, both of you make another perception check for me, please.
All right.
That's a good one.
27.
31.
That's
Okay.
a good one.
So there are a couple things that you guys notice as you watch. First of all, it looks like there are 6 lizard folk living in this hut. After a little while of sort of dragging their feet and sort of trying to stay out of the rain, 3 of them take a raft out a few hundred feet into the lake and take turns diving into the lake and coming back occasionally with a speared fish on the end of a spear. They don't stay out for too long before they come back, and by this time the other 3 have woken up and sort of sit up talking amongst each other loudly in their hut. They eventually come back, share a meal, and just sit out of the rain. They just sit in the hut. At one point, the 2 of you hear very clearly a roar coming from somewhere toward the center of the lake. It sounds pretty familiar. It sounds a lot like the sounds that swamp creature was making when you were fighting it. You notice that all of the lizard folk pause and sort of listen, quiet. They didn't stop talking for a moment, like waiting for another sound, and then they go back into their conversation. But it's very clear everyone heard it.
Do they seem? What's their sort of emotional response to that noise? Do they look afraid, celebratory? Do they look upset?
Alerted.
They do not look upset at all. They look curious.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back at camp. Oh God! Oh God! Where are they?
After a little while longer, another hour or so before you take your leave, you do hear it semi-regularly. Not as loud as the first time, but you hear that sound, that roar, quieter, coming from somewhere, deeper in the lake, or toward the center of the lake.
Does it sound like it's coming from the towers?
In that direction, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So you head back for first watch. How are the 2 of you faring in the rain?
I imagine I have. So I think I mentioned this the first session, but I have this like sort of foiled waterproof big cloak. So I imagine I would just.
You're just like hunkering down.
I like lay down, drape it over myself, and I go to sleep until somebody wakes me up for watch. I'm getting I'd say since we got there at dusk, I can get a pretty good night of sleep, even watch included. So I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Double checking. I'm pretty sure I'm suffering. Yep.
All right.
I like to imagine that Redrick even was like, "How am I doing? I'm suffering."
Basically.
He's just he's very emotionally in tune, and he's just like, "Yep, I am miserable. I hate this."
I imagine that Bruno is actually grateful for the rain. It is not like covering his head with it because it's cooler than just constant heat. So that's how I imagine it.
Well, that's how you find them when you get back in various states of comfort and misery. As you continue to watch, perhaps an hour after Rex leaves, you notice that on the east side of the lake, so north of you, or northeast of you, you see a boat or a raft begin to row out toward the center, toward the buildings, toward the tower, with lizard folk on it, and they travel the whole way across to the central buildings, moor their little raft, and disappear into amongst those buildings. After a while, a few minutes after you lose sight of them in the rain, you hear that roar again, although much louder even than the first time you heard it. And you watch as ostensibly the same lizard folk you just saw enter the building leave and row back across the way they came. They look to be in much more of a hurry going back than they were to arrive.
Is it the same number?
What was your perception check?
27.
It was a definite. You don't know for sure, but it was the numbers. But it was definitely fewer when they were leaving than it was when they were arriving.
Oh boy. Somebody lost. So it's a bad luck.
So I don't know if Caleb is working on this theory, and so Tor is also working on this theory. Either they got eaten, or they got turned into lizard monsters.
Eaton is a good bet.
He said mutated lizard folk, and so there have to be base lizard folk to mutate them.
No, he said there weren't. I thought you said there weren't lizard folk that were mutated.
No, like there aren't in this village.
The source of the mutation is Old Rest.
Right.
Yeah, and so like these are the base lizard folk go to the tower to get mutated, which means if we kill all these lizard folk,
Yeah.
stop this
Mass
problem at the source.
murder.
Of one particular race, in particular.
Look, it's solving a problem before it becomes a problem.
It's true.
Boy, oh
Very
boy.
expedient.
Yeah.
Am I in?
I would. How far away are they docking on this side from me?
You mean the hut that's nearby you?
The raft that came back from the middle.
Yeah.
How far off is that?
Oh, maybe half a mile.
I would make my way over. I would have started making my way to where they set off from.
Okay.
Just because they're in my mind, there's nothing else really going on. There's no reason for me to stay here where I'm at. So once I see something going towards the middle of the lake, and I might have even waited until they kind of got to the center and then been like, okay, I'm gonna go to that spot to see kind of where they came from. And especially after they got back, I would be wanting to go over that way and just see if there's any indication when I get over there, like where they came, why they ended up going out there.
Okay, so you are you gonna investigate like their hut or just like hang around that area or?
I would start by looking around and seeing. like I'm trying to figure out if one of them is important and kind of knows why they had to go out there, and if they have any like written documents, written orders. So I would start by just looking around from afar,
Okay.
gathering information that way. But if I don't really gather, but then I would probably end up making my way kind of into their huts and actually like doing a more thorough investigation.
You actually, as you approach, you're pretty sure you picked the right hut. You can kind of see where the raft was hastily left at the shore,
Yeah.
but you don't see the lizard folk at all from a distance.
Mm.
No sign of them. And then as you approach a little closer and look and peer about, you find them, there are 4 of them, huddled, like shivering in the hut. Like hiding.
Yeah. Do I see any papers or items or anything like that?
Nothing. Apart from the same sort of types of ornaments that you saw in the other hut.
Yeah. Man, there's part of me that would really love to just walk up and be like, hey, you guys look sad. What's going on? Tor's not the person to do that. Yeah, I would. So after seeing that, I would probably wait around for another hour to see if anything else happens, if anything else comes from the center or anything. But if nothing else happens, I'm kind of feeling like that was probably the thing for the evening.
Okay.
That was the the human sacrifice of the night that everyone knows and loves. And yeah, if I don't see anything else, I'll head back.
Make one last perception check for me before the end of the evening here, before you head back.
That's a 17.
Okay.
Hero point my 9.
Yes.
Tweet. Don't do it. I just
Use that hero point.
No, I'll stick with my 17.
You see only a shadow on the tower. And you know this must be what you have heard about.
Yeah.
Because it is so difficult to tell what you are looking at.
Yeah.
It looks like a shadow falling across the tower.
Yeah.
Especially here in the rain. It's clear it wasn't there before, and you can see it moving. This is pretty much right as you were about to leave. You see this.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it wasn't there before and now is.
Yes.
Okay.
You notice it just as you're about to like give up and go back.
Yeah.
It sort of moves up the side of this tower, this bell tower.
Yeah.
And then it sort of hovers at the top. It's just really hard for you to get a good idea of what it is. But you can see it moving. And as you watch it, you notice something reflective, something shiny appears adjacent to it at the top of the tower. And then it sort of melds with the shadow and then lifts off into the sky and moves toward the north, out of sight, into the darkness.
Am I on the south side of the lake?
Yeah, like southeast side.
So it's gone.
Do I have any thought as to what that shadow might be?
You think it's possible it might be less undead or fiendish and more magical darkness. You think it might be some sort of dragon.
Dragon gives me visibility on itself.
Or
Orc's
can
wearing,
Clark get the shadow taken care
We
of?
were all wrong. We were all wrong. It was a freaking dragon.
Orc's wearing an amulet of invisibility, and that's what
What's-
keeps glinting.
What's the appropriate recall out for dragons?
Arcana.
Yeah, we didn't ask for Arcana. We all made jumps about. We all thought our own domains about what it would be.
Which is like
Okay.
great and super in character too.
Yeah.
But Davian isn't here. Because Davian's our Arcana boy, right?
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
That's fair.
We must roll really well.
Um,
Of course, it's a dragon. I can make itself invisible.
was I able to see? Was I able to get any kind of guess of what that glint that melded with it?
It didn't look like it didn't look like a piece of jewelry. It looked like another creature. But more than that, you're not sure.
And when you said melded with it, if it was, if there was like sort of a bubble of invisibility and the shining thing went into it and just sort of disappeared when it hit that shadowy portion, is that kind of what it looked like, or was there some
You saw it like move.
reaction?
You just saw it move in and around the shadow. That's more or less. It kind of came in and out of sight. From this distance, that's basically all you could tell.
Absolutely right. I think only.
Okay. I think I will head back
Shiny
after that.
Kevin is in the chat.
Roll me, Lenny. I am here. Roll.
Yeah. I don't know. It was there. It
roll.
left. I might just stay.
Okay.
Like I was thinking like, you know, I can head back after that, but
24.
honestly, it seems like, you know, there's some stuff going on overnight here where I might just deal and just stay up and watch.
It's actually huge knowing that it's another dragon.
How long do you stay?
I'll stay the whole time.
Okay. 2 hours later, you see the shadow return from the north.
Okay.
I will give you another perception check as the rain has abated a bit.
Yeah.
What percentage of it?
Maybe by half.
I'm 50% less miserable.
25.
Nice.
Yeah, you can actually, from here this time, you can make out the wings. And you can make out what looks like some sort of deer in its claws. As it comes back from the north and lands on the top of the bell tower. You can also make out the source of that shininess. It's a creature on the dragon's back in what looks like some sort of silver mail or silver armor of some sort.
Now I don't need to tell him.
Yeah. 2 guesses of who that might be.
Oh, god damn it.
Because the name rhymes with larva.
Yeah.
They quickly disappear into
It might not be him in the sense that
the tower.
like, he doesn't want to be out patrolling all day. Maybe he's got his like lieutenant doing it. But
This
So can I now see the
Yeah, dragons usually
the
let the
body of the
lieutenant
dragon, or
ride their
do I still just kind of see a shadow?
No, you can see it.
I'm
You can see it.
saying it isn't. I'm just saying,
It's
like 10%
jet black.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see why it was so difficult to see, especially in the rain and at this distance. It's dark. It's very easy to understand why it's been difficult for others to identify this thing.
Gotcha.
Even if you feel like you were just barely made it out, even with this
Sure.
last view.
And so during the day, it's because we also heard that it's very hard to see during the day. Is that likely because it sits in shadows.
Or it's gone.
Yeah, you suspect it's either it's sitting in the shadows or it's inside one of these buildings and just never makes itself visible.
Gotcha.
That's what I was gonna also say. Is it probably crawls inside.
I think when I heard that it was barely visible, it made me think that people saw it, but could barely see it, and so that's what made me think that it was like sort of like a translucent thing.
You suspect what they probably saw was their own imagination.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Do I continue to hear that roaring? Do I think that roaring that I heard before came from this dragon, or do I think that came from
You continue to hear that
the whole time?
on and off every 45 minutes maybe, at different levels, different volumes, the whole time. I will say that last roar, that really loud one, you don't hear that again. It's all sort of those low roars that you heard before you ever saw this creature, this big creature.
Do I hear enough that it seems like there might be overlapping, like more than one creature making that noise?
You never hear enough to make that guess.
Okay.
But you make it anyway.
Anything else before the sun is? I would want to be back before the sun comes up. Do I see anything else before then?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. How well do the rafts seem like they're moored to the docks over here?
Not well.
Okay.
Some of them are tied with like very simple knots. Others literally are just rope wrapped around a pole.
Gotcha. Would it be reasonable? I kind of thought of doing this before. Do I think it'd be reasonable if they saw a raft just start floating away? Could they think that it was just a line come loose?
It's possible, but there is no real current in the lake. At least not that you can tell.
Yeah.
There might be. Like you could untie the raft and see what happens.
Yeah. Is there much wind?
No.
Okay.
But you don't get the sense that, like, well, I'll say this. When you saw the raft approach the center of the lake earlier, there was no call, there was no cry, there was no sound to mark their coming, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I will head back.
Okay. You all rest in various states of comfort, and eventually near the morning, you are reunited with your sort of missing fifth.
We thought you were dead.
I didn't think he was dead.
Why didn't you tell us that?
Why would
That
I
I
be
didn't
dead?
think he was dead.
Yeah.
When have I died?
Why would you think he was dead?
Seems
Because
like
he was gone like by himself.
But he's invisible.
it's a little harder to kill than
I'm mostly kidding, guys.
Only a little.
a little.
If he was dead, I guess we wouldn't. I mean,
Do I become exhausted or something?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yup.
I think probably you do.
I don't see a condition.
Maybe it's just that you don't recover.
Add condition fatigued.
Fatigue.
-1 stat penalty to AC and saving throws.
It's not that bad.
You can't use exploration activities performed while traveling.
I felt like I was thinking that it was going to be a -1. Oh my gosh. And I decided that was fun. To just get to see.
You're not traveling, so I think you're fine.
It's fine. What do I do while we travel? But I will give a full lowdown of everything that I saw, including that it seems like someone riding a dragon, and assuming that we've talked a decent amount, if you guys
Bless you.
Thank you.
I, you know, Well, yeah, I would give you all the information that I have, but especially that it seems like a black dragon with someone in Silvermail riding it.
Can everyone who wants to make Arcana checks about black dragons?
What do we know about black dragon?
I'm sure Dave, based on Kevin's history, wants to make an Arcana check.
I'm sorry I missed today, but I'm ready to slay a dragon.
Yeah, you guys can make Arcana checks if you want.
Yes. Also, I forgot I have this. At level 6, I got cognitive crossover.
Ooh.
It's just a thing. If I fail, I pick 2 skills, and there's a list of them. In the case of what I picked Arcana, which I have a +0, and Nature, which I have a +10. If I fail a check, it's a reaction. If I fail a check of one of the 2, I can reattempt it. A recall knowledge check of one of the 2, I can attempt it with the other one.
Nice.
So I'm gonna fail it usually with Arcana and retry it with Nature.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, weirdly, Rex and Runar are the strongest in this. Poor Davian.
No.
The strongest in recalling knowledge of the dragon?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to try it, but okay.
Oh, okay.
I have no...
Well, you didn't.
Well,
I did, apparently, yeah.
I mean, you thought about it.
I have 0 intelligence, and I'm not training Arcana.
Yeah, but you thought about it.
I would wait for you guys to tell me. I think if I think of something, it's probably just going to be wrong, so I'll let the experts tell me.
so,
Slay eggs.
okay, so the two of you, this is what you both know about black dragons. You know that they can fly and swim,
Let's go.
and that their energy alignment is acid.
Ring of acid resistance, boys.
That's why I was gonna make
It's
sure
the
that we knew
mushrooms.
that the ring of acid resistance was useful against it without metagaming the crap out of it.
You also know that
It'd be wild not to not just wear it.
I mean, yes,
True.
somebody would wear it, right? But
these dragons, when they tend to be quite terrifying just to be in their presence when you're close, and then this can make it difficult to combat them. But they are quite quick in the air and on the ground and underwater. I think the only other thing you would know is that they like to be in this environment. Swamps, bogs, marshes. This is where they prefer to dwell. Either in isolated parts of a swamp like this, basically, or caves, that type of thing. So basically this dragon is in its home environment. It's not out of place. Apart from that, you can both make a request for additional information.
Please select your requests by end of day.
I already have a guess about saving throws, just based on the fact that it's definitely not fortitude. It's either reflex or will, so I'm not going to ask about that. I'll ask about, does it have opportunity attack?
Oh.
Reactive strikes.
That's a good question. It does not have a traditional attack of opportunity like you might expect. However, it has it uses its tail to swim, and its tail is a little more lithe than other dragons, and it's able to react to attacks. It can basically riposte with a tail.
Okay, so it's attacks, not spells. Does it?
Yeah, it doesn't.
necessarily?
It doesn't really. It doesn't. It's not. It can't take it. It doesn't use this tail as a form of opening an opportunity. It uses it as a form of punishment.
Yeah, I see. That's interesting.
Is the only way that I know of that it would inflict its elemental damage of acid through its breath, or do I suspect that its tail is barbed or a bite from it would also inflict that kind of damage?
Excellent question. You are fairly sure that all of its acid ability comes from organs in its mouth that produce the caustic substance. So it can breathe it out or it can bite to deal acid damage.
Yeah, I'm going with Dex is the lowest saving throw. It has to be.
You would also both know that it is capable of casting spells. It's an intelligent creature that has spellcasting abilities.
That was the other thing that I was debating, asking is if it can cast spells.
Is this one of those creatures we feel like we can fight? Because we found we saw a dragon.
Yes, I think both of you know that it would be a challenging fight, but not impossible. It is not something where you, like before, where you're like,
That guy's it.
we need to get out of here. No, it's not quite like that.
Okay.
It's certainly not something you would want to be surprised by, but you think if you had your wits about you, you could make it work.
What if it was aided by a spellcaster?
It would depend a lot on
The spellcaster.
spellcaster. Yeah.
Okay, this is good information though.
And I guess, I don't know if this will be too much past in the aspect of it being capable of casting spells. Do I imagine that its casting will require some degree of manipulation, or is it would be an innate thing that it would just do?
Even innate spells. Well, for us, even if I have an innate spell, it's a manipulation.
Yeah, I think they still have to either move their tail or jaws or claws or wings. They have a few more options than a normal human spellcaster. But yeah, I believe they still have to follow the same types of rules.
Unlucky buddy, you're a target for disrupt prey.
Nice.
Good to know.
Alright, so isn't it how weird is it though that the stealthy option is in broad daylight? Is that weird to anybody else? A weird feeling?
I mean, it's stealthy in the sense that those people are active, but it's less stealthy in the sense that if people are active, or if there are people active around there, we have a easier time seeing us. So it's like...
Sorry, what was the stealthy in broad daylight?
Well, we didn't go at night because we heard the lizard men were more active at night. So we're thinking of going in the day.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say these?
Oh, but like you just feel weird about like doing our sneaking during the day.
Yeah.
In broad daylight in the middle of the lake. That's
Yeah.
fair. The question is,
So I would emphasize like the lizard folks seemed, and I mean you saw this, like their weapons weren't good.
yeah,
They didn't seem
threatening.
super threatening. I would say like part of for Tor, part of me wonders if they are willing participants or if they are very scared of a big dragon. I don't know that they are to be negotiated with, but I suspect if there was no dragon, they might not want to be here. This all seems new. the buildings seem new.
Yeah. I suppose the other aspect of this that just occurred to me is I don't know if we can rely on this, but the possibility of if that, I guess 2 parts to it. Can we get to the tower without the swimming lizard mutant jumping our raft and attacking us? Is the first question. And then the second question is, could we potentially time getting into the tower while the dragon and the rider are flying out to go get food or something?
Would be worth waiting for an opportunity, at least.
Do not want to. That dragon's gonna be a problem enough by its own, let alone with its rider, and then more stuff on top of that still. So yeah, it would be very good to bring those up.
And the question is, do we want to... I mean, that comes back to it. It doesn't leave during the day. Do we wait for it to leave at night and take our chances rowing out there at night and get into the tower while it's out and try and ambush it when it gets back?
Honestly, when it goes out to hunt, does it have a trotter with it?
Yep.
I wonder if we could attack it where it sleeps. Wait till it goes out, wait for it to come back where it sleeps, and then ambush it there without its rider. But
Oh.
Did
wait.
I see where it went after it came back
Into the bell tower.
into the bell tower?
oh.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean, is we get into the bell tower after it flies out.
Yeah.
And if we're lucky, I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm banking on the rider being a lesser foe than the dragon.
Yeah, probably.
Well, unless the dragon can change shape, the rider and the dragon probably separate at some point. We can probably ambush the rider wherever they sleep and kill them nice and quick, and then go for the dragon.
How does the rider ride the dragon?
You tell me. You saw him.
Don't mean what type of saddle. I mean, how does a weaker being convince... Are dragons smart in that?
Very.
Convince
You would know that too.
the smart dragon to be a pony.
Depends who the weaker.
To be bone.
Depends on who's the weaker
Don't underestimate.
rider's boss.
Don't underestimate an unlikely friendship. It's possible the two of them are partners and not
Could be partner.
subordinate and
Partner usually doesn't ride partner.
Yeah, but if one partner fly, another partner no fly, it makes a difference.
I don't have many dragon friends to draw upon past experiences. But
I wonder if
Well, if
magic is involved, if there is if Sarvith has something to keep this dragon in line.
All the more reason to kill Sarbith first.
Yes, I just I agree with you that Sarvith is probably less of a threat than the dragon, but I'm concerned he's not.
Well, I think that's fair. I'll still take our odds of killing him before the dragon gets to him, than killing the dragon before he gets to the dragon. It's a risky gambit regardless. It's a heck of a beast. Someone's gotta do it though. The question is, do we sail at night and gone, or do we try and travel there in the daylight and try and sneak in while they're maybe sleeping during the day?
This creature is in the water. If we go in, I guess if we go in at night. If we go in at night, we attract his attention.
Yep.
That thing was pretty fucking tough when we fought it.
Yep.
If we fight that thing, we probably want to back off.
Yeah.
And go for the dragon another day, but then the alarm's going to be raised. Well, did you get the impression that that thing is working for the enemy, or is it just in the lake and a problem?
There wasn't any communication, but you said the lizard folk went out there to convene with it in some sense, and I don't know why they would do that of their own volition without a compelling encouragement.
I do think there will be more of the swamp lizard inside the tower. I don't think they were being fed to the dragon, because if they were, why did it need to hunt?
Did they go into the crumbled building or the bell tower when the lizard folk came to, when they paddled over?
He wasn't able to tell.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, the dragon went out and came back with a doe in its claws.
Yeah, no, I'm saying of the fact of if they are in, if
they are somewhere,
yeah, the
are they
mutants
the
are
same?
in one or the other, yeah.
I think it might be best to take our chances at night. They'll be at least expecting boats to be on the water, and we know there will be a time when the dragon isn't.
Well, my concern is like to his point, the swamp monster or monsters being active at night but not during the day. Heard roars at night, haven't heard anything so far in the daylight.
True.
So I would, if you'd allow me, I would like to try a recall knowledge check on the swamp fiend with a specific goal of having seen the corpse of one of them and having fought one of them, if I was able to be sure of it being a nocturnal creature or not.
You're pretty sure it's nocturnal because in examining its eyes, it had the eyes of like a
Killer.
like a cat, like a creature that hunts at night.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, in the best case scenario, and this is we need to be lucky. Ain't no way about it. We get over there in daylight while we can't be interrupted by the swamp fiends, and we like hide on the lower floor of the tower if that exists, and see if we can wait until nightfall to climb the tower itself.
Could we disguise ourselves as the lizard folk?
I sure could try.
Surely there's a couple scrolls that could do that. How tall are the lizard folk?
They're big, 6-7 feet.
Oh, really?
Could we be relatively scrawny looking lizard folk if wearing their garb over ours?
Well, they don't wear anything.
That's what I thought.
But they don't. I mean, you guys both watched them long enough. They don't look like they'd be a match for any of you.
Yeah.
They look like they are sort of pitiful.
Yeah.
They're capable in terms of making a living here in the swamp, but in a fight, no chance.
My thought is if we're going to have to go across the lake in the middle of the day, do so as things that could be lizard folk. So even if it's suspicious, it's maybe suspicious in a way of like, what are those idiots doing, and not why are like 5 people coming to attack.
Sure, if you have a way of doing that, I sure can't.
I can just disappear.
That's
I have
great. That solves.
I have this. I'll take off my scarf.
Guess it's very. It looks nice.
Thank you.
Puts it back on.
This scarf. I'm not sure. So the scarf allows me to cast illusory disguise. Causes the target to appear as another creature of the same body shape with roughly similar height, weight. So he could maybe look like small lizard folk.
Do you have 5 of those scarves?
I have 1, and then I can become invisible. He can become invisible. So that leaves 2.
You're really sneaky, and then I'm fucked.
I mean,
Problem solved.
I'm bait.
well, how about this? What if?
How can you do clinging to the bottom of a raft?
It's just
I mean, my
snorkeling.
athletics is good,
That's pretty good.
and I have assurance, so I can if I can use assurance to succeed, I basically can't fail.
And we have swamp reeds to function as a snorkel.
Jesus Christ.
We do.
This is what's scary is
Alright.
the best plan I've heard.
It's actually very good. Okay, so it's fantastic.
The great part is
love
that this results in apparently one lizard folk going across the raft.
So best. I mean,
I can speak
I'm-
Draconic. I should probably wear the scarf.
And you're the
though.
tallest one too.
Yes, I'm like 6'9".
it's not a bad idea. The other question, though, is that couldn't we make it look like the raft just got loose from the mooring and drifted that way, and cut the other 2 loose while we're at it,
We could.
and still go with the plan that?
And just have the empty.
You okay with that?
Yeah, it's so
I
good.
can,
Just that
I
visual
can
image
make a
was just
Yeah,
so
yeah.
perfect.
dust that it might make sense that it got started if they're asleep,
Let them stay asleep.
let them stay asleep.
Yeah.
They won't notice. That's sorry. That plan was what I was thinking of doing last night if I decided to go scout the tower
Yeah.
at night. But I thought doing that without letting you guys, with no indication that I might do that, might
It's a great way to die.
be a little messy.
It's a fantastic.
It would be a great way to die.
Yeah. So hear me out. Are you planning on bringing Felru?
Yes. I mean, I could leave him behind with maybe the elves, but
Sure.
if I do bring him, I'm not bringing him out, presumably.
Yeah, so if you left him behind with the elves,
I could do the cloak thing.
could someone go into your cloak?
No. Unfortunately, that's how it works. It has
How?
To, it has to.
Wait, he could just. He's small. You could just like look like a bundle of goods.
Actually,
Well,
well,
just cover him up and
do
look
you
like
know-
a bundle of goods.
Yeah, but they didn't bring anything, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, you guys know how Sarbith and the dragon are related, right? right at the start of the dragon that relationship. If one of you guys wants to be my dragon, then yeah, I can totally do
How
it.
long do you think you have to ride on my back before that counts?
Until we form an unbreakable bond.
Unbreakable bond.
To the point where
Really
you are
long
considered a
time.
minion in D&D terms.
To somebody else when I have him ride their back and is very weak-willed.
We could also have, if we wanted to not have people on the bottom of the raft, we could have people bound up like prisoner.
Too much attention.
Yeah.
Hmm.
During the day, one lizard folk taking 2 big prisoners.
I say we do it.
I mean, if we do we
Just empty a raft.
you have that like big thing you were sleeping under, right? That like waterproof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just his cloak is an oil cloak, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying like we can make something that looks like into a bag of like provisions.
Can one of us get in a bag of
hides in a
clothing?
bag?
It's not that big of.
The opening's not big enough.
Yeah, it's not a.
Like if we have cloth, I can just make a bag for us to hide into.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty small.
Put the
Yeah,
bag on the
smells.
raft.
Yeah, someone has to carry me though.
But then, I mean, I don't know that a bag on an empty raft is less suspicious.
Oh,
than-
we're doing the empty raft, not the one cobalt, the one lizard raft.
I just think an empty raft floating is going to look like
Nothing.
nothing. It's going to look like a mistake.
Unless they have
One kobold with 2 giant sacks on a raft, to me, seems more suspicious.
And then I'm of the opinion of the difference between one person hanging onto the raft underneath the water, assuming there's an aquatic attack, versus 3.
sounds like a band name.
It just does.
Aquatic
Aquatic
attack.
attack.
Does actually. Kinda great.
But
They play water parks.
I mean, we might as well go empty raft.
my only concern with the empty raft is that I'm living somewhere and that's my lake and my boat goes it's goddamn uncomfortable swimming like in my fucking raft bag. Like,
Oh yeah, they're asleep. I mean, we could go kill all of them in there and then
you know, you're right. That's
release the raft.
You're right. We should just
Also, the sneaky, wonderful part is I can't move in terms of lake. I can't move in terms of lake. I can't move a lot of water, but I can make a current.
Am I still under the rafting situation?
All of us will be.
Oh, I mean, we can kick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can swim it as well.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
So we do have to go slow,
Yeah,
but
let's do it.
I think we go slow, but we can move a little faster. Like
We can move with purpose.
the faster we go, the less time there is for someone to see us.
Mhm.
The slower we go, the more natural it looks. But we are kind of banking that there just isn't really people watching.
I feel like we also need someone invisible in front to make sure we're aiming the right way.
Oh, the 2 invisible people are on the raft.
You said we're all under the boat.
They're invisible. They don't need to.
All of us.
I thought we were saving spell slots or something. Okay.
Oh no.
Okay. Then yes,
Saving what?
spells. You know.
He doesn't have to.
Capacity.
Wait, you
Casting.
can only do these.
Oh yeah, we also need to
You
make
have
it
to
within.
save these?
We also need to make it within 10 minutes, otherwise Davian will appear and then need to disappear again.
I feel like since speed is of the essence, we should just have people on the raft, assuming that's faster. And
Nah, I think we just invisible people
think-
under the raft. It's invisible.
How long would it take to swim from the edge of the lake to the tower? Like if we were full swimming.
Let me check.
Oh, that is a good question, actually.
What I was gonna say is
swimming's a
we.
little bit slower.
What I was gonna say is what we
wonder
might
how
as
we're
well do.
supposed to do this.
This is how we're supposed to do this. What I was gonna say is, well, we might as well do it because speed is of the essence. Sure, we shouldn't stand on the raft though. We propel it as fast as we can with invisible people on the raft, and people underneath can we can kick under the water. Like we should move it as fast as we can go with it. So if there was a lot of scrutiny, yeah, they might be like, okay, something's up with this raft. But I also suspect that there's the possibility that the spellcasting dragon, if he looks, will
Just
cast see
see
invisibility.
invisibility.
So it's like a like we move fast, we move on invisible, and we
the-
just go as quick as we
The
can.
dragon, I'm hoping, is asleep.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I'm more so worried about the like semi-intelligent lizard folk guard that gets stuck doing day watch,
Mhm.
and they look out and see it. And so I want that. I want a a +1 intelligent creature to not notice us most of the time.
Uh-huh.
So I think kick as fast as we can without making like actual waves
Yeah.
at the surface.
Yeah. I mean, we're still gonna have to be snorkeling, so kicking within the scope of kicking while still being able to like breathe up.
Right.
Okay, so let's see how far you can swim in an action. 10 feet per action.
Okay.
So 30 feet per 6 seconds.
Or 300 feet per minute. So it's going to take you...
3,000 feet in 10 minutes.
It's going to take you... Assuming that you leave from the closest point on the shore
Mm-hmm.
to the tower,
Mm-hmm.
and not the southernmost point, which is
Sure.
a little further, because it's sort of oblong.
Sure.
It's about 700 or 800 feet.
Easy.
Yeah.
Within 10 minutes, easy.
Now, if you're underwater and doing this, I think you're going to be going slower,
Yeah.
but you can definitely do it within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
But I think if we have, and because we're also moving a raft,
Yes.
but if we have 3 people kicking a raft, and then me
causing
trying to
a
give
current.
us a current moving the raft, I think we can. We're not listing along the lake,
Yeah.
so
The other rafts will be, but we won't.
I think this is. Oh my gosh,
This is the play.
we could release more rafts.
That's what I said. We have the one. We don't release too many because
Yeah.
then someone definitely notices. But the 3 that are at this boathouse, we go out just in the one, and then the other 2 we just push out.
Genius.
Oh, I thought I might have
I-
just said that in my head.
I didn't hear it.
But that's what I meant. Is all 3 of them get untied and released.
Yeah, and
that
we're
way
on
it
one.
looks less. It looks like it was just a shoddy job at this boathouse.
Mirror
instead of
image.
just one.
Boats.
Do you think that's less suspicious than one person rowing, though?
Yes.
Having like a boat that's just
I think
naturally drifting.
I think if they all come from the same spot,
It's like what happened there.
though, I will say ours will pretty quickly become the like. This one is just moving.
Sure, and one of the invisible people, it's gonna have to be Davian because you're gonna be focused on blowing like a current.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps an eye out, looks for any signs of anybody like looking, and if somebody seems to catch attention, you signal like stomp on the raft or something, and we cease kicking and let it just drift
Mm-hmm.
because it could have just been like a gust that made us move a little faster for a short period.
Yeah.
If it's a sustained speed, it looks strange, but
Yeah.
if it's like a brief burst, somebody looks, notices it's a problem, and then like goes to deal with it, right? Then we can re-pick up the pace.
I like it.
I like it. What could possibly go wrong?
Raft it.
The fact that you need to take off your heavy armor.
That's actually not too much of an issue, actually.
Great. Then we're good.
As long as I have time to prepare spells, which I have. It's morning and I'm preparing spells now.
Yep.
So yeah, we can fix this.
This is the plan.
God, I love it.
Do I have to take my armor off? It doesn't actually give me any penalties, I don't think.
Take it off.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
athletics?
Not if you have the strength check. If you meet the strength requirement for the armor.
That's true. You don't get any penalties.
Yeah. Which is
Isn't that
completely different from Pathfinder
crazy?
First Edition, I realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't change the raw to like
Okay.
hurt you here.
Okay, 'cause,
I think it's wild.
I thought the same thing, and I.
Well, I looked at swim and I saw nothing about armor, and I looked at the armor, I saw nothing about it. I was like, how?
Yeah.
Well,
but just for
me-
metal. Just for metal.
Metal's
armor.
buoyant, though, is the thing.
It's fantasy, of course it is. This isn't real.
It's really heavy water, guys.
It's heavy water.
It's actually
It's heavy
it's
water.
actually mercury.
It's actually it's heavy.
Yeah, you have other problems.
We swim. Boom.
The real reason Rest went
Yeah.
downhill.
Yeah. Seriously.
It's a lake of
do
heavy
it.
water for a reason.
People started drinking mercury and they all died.
These actually, all these lizard folk used to be humans.
Ooh.
Nice.
50,000 people used to live here.
Yeah.
It goes down.
So I guess let's go then. We
That's
sneak our way to the raft.
What time of day did you decide you're going to do this?
right now.
Dawn, right? Basically.
Yeah.
This was our dawn conversation. And
Yeah, our conversation over coffee and oats.
Yeah. I mean, this conversation probably took an hour or so, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
still early.
There's a lot of
Takes me,
deliberating.
well, actually, I don't know. I'll say initiative. First initiative doesn't take like an hour to prep your spells a day. I'm not sure how much is in this one.
Oh, yeah. You guys probably have to do some prep as well. Although I think you might be able
I
to
take
do
a
that
long
while
time to eat
discussing.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a good breakfast.
I call it prepping my spells.
I've had your breakfast before. It's worth spending an hour on.
I, Caleb, sometimes eat breakfast for an hour.
Ooh, who's putting the ring on?
That's a great question.
Oh.
It's just.
I mean, it's a big commitment.
You're right. I don't know if everyone can add it.
It's just good.
Who's the person that most likely needs a little bit of squish protection?
It's
Everyone.
I feel like I have
I mean,
bad armor, but I have a decent amount of hit points, and I have my like reaction to save some damage.
Oh, you do. Okay. I assume it's a reflex save for the acid breath thing. But that's what I do. I'm assuming you have the most HP.
I definitely have the least HP.
What's
So you're also the most likely to be at range, but
No. Not really, right?
I thought that too, and then the last fight, the green or whatever, the green fiend was it called?
Whatever, the swamp fiend.
Swamp fiend.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I was just calling it a
Okay.
swamp
Green
swamp creature.
Oh.
I think
don't know why
I think
had
you
swamp lizard.
well I think you guys saw
I saw the
picture and I think it has its name in there, but I don't think I ever told you the name.
Oh,
We didn't-
gotcha.
no, we don't have the name. I've just been calling it swamp fiend.
The green swamp fiend.
Yeah, I think that its name, like per the book, is Green Spawn or something.
It was just like in my notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, what you sent us as swamp monster.
yeah, Swamp Monster.
I'm fine with giving it to Runa.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
How much is it? It's like 5
I
resistance.
think so.
Mm-hmm.
The link's in the document. Yeah.
Yes, it's
okay.
5 resistance.
Okay.
I clicked on the link in the document.
Sure, I'll take it.
And I do. This is worth.
I'm definitely taking this. Well, this is a fun time. It'll probably resist the damn spell, but I'm taking it anyway. I have in our campaign. I'm constantly casting searing lighted enemies that would just be completely decimated if I hit them. Never hit them. Like, oh, well, it's an entity made of entirely pure shadow. I'm like, aha, searing light. My bad. Go ahead.
Well, Stefan, how is a shadow created except through light?
Yeah, I know, but it's just so frustrating. Like, oh, here comes this. And next.
It would have been so good if it worked.
Yeah, like Mother Dark.
Well, folks, you pick up and approach the east side, the east bank, the closest point to the tower. How are you approaching the shore?
Sticking to the reeds as much as we can to have as much cover as possible. And then definitely have Tor initially scout invisible to
Okay.
make sure if they have a watch, we know in advance. Because if we have to sneak up and like kill a guard real quick, like much better to know preemptively from our invisible scout than to walk out and hopefully kill him before he raises an alarm. So,
And I'm just staying within 5 feet of you, probably.
yeah.
Well, it just so happens that the closest hut to this tower is the one that Tor saw 4 lizard folk come back from the night before.
Mm.
So what you find is the same hut that you had investigated earlier. You see that it looks like 2 of them are asleep in the hut, and the other 2 are outside of the hut, and one seems to be treating the other's wounds, putting a poultice on the creature's arm.
What kind of wounds?
Well, you can get quite close. You're invisible, right?
Yeah.
It looks like claw marks, pretty deep.
They were cowering when I got back, right?
Yeah, they were
So-
basically all cowering together in a big...
So they could have had this last night and I just might not have noticed. Or do I?
It looks quite likely, yes. And you can actually see the remnants of blood stains going in and out of the hut.
Are there any other huts or awake lizard folk around?
No. You can see some of the other huts, but they're not close enough that they would... they would see you or you would risk being noticed.
And are there any other rafts nearby?
Yes, there are 2 rafts here.
Okay.
Bye bye, lizard folk.
Yeah.
Just wait until they go away.
We could wait a little bit to see.
We kill them.
I think, yeah, I suspect that they're going to be up and around.
Will the bodies of people missing be more suspicious?
How long do you think we're gonna make this? Oh, because we're gonna wait till nightfall to go up top.
Yeah. I mean, if it is an hour, I feel like waiting, even if it takes over, I hope it doesn't take over an hour, but even if it does,
Yeah.
we're just going to be waiting around tonight anyway.
Yeah, no, I guess
we're
if
gonna
we-
wait around tonight after we've taken their boat and sailed
We're
it
going to
there.
hide and wait for the dragon to get back, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
and we're also gonna make loose the other raft, and they're gonna go retrieve the rafts and be like,
Alright.
Yeah.
our rafts got loose.
Yeah.
We can wait to see if they go back into their hut.
That's
So
what
so
we'll wait on then.
sorry, our plan was to wait until the dragon leaves and then comes back. Or leaves and then we can
Climb the tower.
Yeah,
and
and
then,
get in there.
and then either wait in, if Sarvith has a separate room that we can identify, wait
Yeah.
in there to jump Sarvith first,
Mm-hmm.
and then take care of the dragon, or I mean, we just want to
Yeah.
figure out that next step is when the dragon and Sarvith
Once we get
leave.
more information inside the tower. Yeah, that makes sense.
The beginning is just getting to the bottom of the tower in daylight and waiting out if possible.
We kill whoever walks in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's the dragon, too bad. If it's Sarvin,
Mhm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess if remembering that we're waiting around till this evening, then yeah, we can wait around for a bit, see if these guys leave. Because yeah, I'd rather leave as little trace of us being here as possible.
Yep.
I'd like to pass without a trace too.
Okay. So the 4 of you are hiding, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do then, Tor?
Just, I would go back, explain that there was 2 asleep, 2 awake. The 2 awake are binding up the wounds, but and then I'm assuming we rehash that conversation that we just had.
Mhm.
Then we say, okay, we're going to wait. Just keep an eye out for a while.
Okay. And if you, so you're going to stay right here watching this group of lizard folk, I assume.
Yeah, and keep an eye out around us to make sure no one wanders up on us.
Mm-hmm.
So like wait maybe an hour and then reassess.
And I don't know if Davian would use his hawk to maybe like scout behind us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he could have he could have his bird checking like the proximity of us.
Yeah. That's if we're sitting close to their camp,
Mhm.
then more concerned about someone, like a scouting party or hunting party or something, just tripping over us.
We're definitely hiding though,
Yeah.
with purpose.
You wait maybe an hour. You watch the binding of the wounds stop. And then you see the two lizard folk climb back into the hut and remove what you now realize are the bodies of the two other lizard folk inside the hut. And sort of drag them out past you into the swamp. And as they do this, you can see that one of the nearest huts, the lizard folk watch and like raise spears in almost like in a gesture of war or violence toward this group. And you can hear them yelling.
Toward the four? The two and the two cut horses?
Yeah.
Oh, so they're... Does it seem like, from this interaction, not speaking their language, does it seem like they are hostile to one another? The two different lizard...
I do speak.
All you hear them saying from afar, it's like violent, like words of jest and violence, like threats, basically.
So no one's gonna care if they're dead. Do you relay that to us?
Mm-hmm.
So no one's gonna care if these last two are dead.
Or do we just go?
You get the sentiment that it's some sort of territorial dispute.
Oh, interesting.
You don't really get much more than that.
No one's gonna miss these two.
No one's gonna miss
How far
these.
past do they walk from us?
Out of sight.
We
Let's just go. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if they go out of sight, but the people that were those people gone. We wait for those guys to go away. Right?
They do eventually go away. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as they go back in, I think we just
Yeah.
take our opening.
As long as does the bird see that they are still the ones that are dragging the bodies, are they still going?
Yes. They seem to be doing some sort of... They stop eventually and start doing some sort of ritual.
And we
or...
assume there's probably ample time for us to go before they get back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, if you guys are planning to get across the river in less than 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or across the water in less than 10 minutes?
Couple.
Yes. You feel pretty strongly that you can do that before they get back.
Well, we just need a couple minute head start because then
exactly.
they're swimming after us.
Yeah, which they're probably pretty good at. But yes.
Do we know if these people have starfish or not yet? We figured that out.
I don't
But they
think
dive
you've
into
done any
swimmers. They dive
recall
into
knowledge on
spear-
lizard
fish.
folk.
They might just have rafts
Yes.
so that they don't have to stay in the water with the potential
What?
creatures
No,
that
you go
might
ahead.
attack us while we're in the water.
Yeah, I know. It's for this one you go.
That's definitely not it.
What did you just do?
Would you like to?
What did you just roll?
What would you like to? Do I get his halberd?
Did you?
Did I get it?
You get a what?
Do I get his halberd?
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Gifts.
Um,
for you.
Dude, you try it.
They have good night vision. They do not have dark vision.
Okay. Lizards do not have dark vision.
Nice.
For the record.
Okay.
Unless I didn't roll high enough.
They have good night vision.
Despite not particularly liking to stay wet, they do have a swim speed. They are good swimmers.
Okay, so if they decide to come after us, we will find out very quickly.
But you don't know that.
I share this. I will share this.
That's fine. We'll be there before they can think about it. And one of them has to swim for one raft. One swim speed.
There's
At
only two
most
of
is
them.
one lizard.
But like, isn't
So
the logic?
if they approach us, we super kill.
Isn't the logic?
Yes.
But like the logical step is to have one go for the one that's really far away and have the other one get the ones that are close.
There's two rafts.
But we're going. We're going.
We're going.
We're
Sure,
going.
we don't
guys.
want to kill them.
We can always kill them
Yeah,
later.
we go.
Yeah, that's what. If we kill them in the water, it'll look less suspicious.
Okay, so you get to the rafts. You get to the rafts. What do you
Yep.
do with the rafts?
Release. Untie.
How are they attached?
Literally ropes just wrapped around the poles of the building.
Perfect.
Just
the
untie.
hut.
Yeah.
Don't cut.
Just untie, don't cut. Yep.
Okay.
Untie. I'm assuming we have pre-grabbed our snorkel reeds
Yep. Yeah.
way long time ago.
Oh, guys left them at a camp. Fuck.
Well, then prepare to
I can
hold
also
your breath.
create breathable air, but yeah, snorkel reeds.
Yes. Should we need it, we have that.
Snorkel reeds.
We snorkel reed. Davian goes invisible.
I
You
go
are
invisible.
invisible.
Tor and Davian get on top of the raft, and we'll sort of send it out, and then you three would run up, sort of swim under,
Yep.
cling on.
Yep.
Okay.
The three of them give us a little rudder speed,
Mhm.
and I generate a current of water given the bit of water bending I can do. I would do the same for a while, also on the other raft, just to get it
Going another direction.
Okay. All right. So just out away from the shore.
Yep.
Okay. How are you?
You can tell by the DM's face that this is, in fact, how this encounter is supposed to go.
How are you breathing?
The tubes, right?
Yeah, so they have like reeds, like take reeds and just like use them as snorkels,
Okay.
like hollow them out through
Yep.
crafting that we have. But I mean that's how original snorkels were. So
Okay. I need to think about what kind of checks I need to make to roll. And so because
how
of
tightly
that,
are the rafts bound together, like the wood slats?
so as you approach like very closely,
Yeah.
you find that what they've done is basically they've made squares of reeds because the reeds are about 5 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So they've cut the reeds and they've bound them in like these bundles of about 5 feet by 5 feet, and then they've put together 4 of these into a raft.
Okay.
So there are gaps in between these 4 squares, but the rest of the raft is pretty tightly held together.
And
So
plenty
just say
to grab onto.
stick the reeds up in between those squares
Yeah.
then for breathing.
Okay.
Yep. And there's plenty to grab onto if they're tied together.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's plenty
so-
to grip from underneath for sure. I need to think about this, and so we're gonna end the session here, and I will think about how you guys are gonna make this happen. Awesome, fantastic.
Beautiful.
And for the record, the check should just be purely athletics, at least for me.
I mean, I don't know
I
what
should
hold your
have-
breath check is,
I
but
think it's, well, it used to
But
be
we're
Constitution
breathing.
check.
yeah, well that's true exactly. So I don't.
I know.
We'll figure it
I'm
out.
just saying that because I have good athletics.
Athletics is definitely going to be involved because you guys are swimming, right? Like
Right.
Yeah.
one way or another, you're swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, awesome, fantastic. Anything else before we call it a night?
I'm just happy I convinced everyone not to kill innocent people. Maybe.
Oh, that's true. Actually,
You did.
You
I
you
did.
really. It really worked out that way. I thought for sure there were going to be some dead lizard folk. I mean, there were.
I was
But
pretending like I'm just making the logical play when really I'm just like, I really would rather not kill these injured poor lizard people.
Yeah. It's like,
but like
these lizard people that all they did is look and see us. Like,
Right. And I'm like, if I phrase it that way, someone's gonna be like, no, we're fucking killing them.
you
Someone.
would know, by the way, also that they speak Draconic and they speak also like Pigeon Draconic to one another.
Okay.
They do not speak any other languages.
Okay. Well, that's even better. If we try to talk to them, that might be difficult.
Can Davian's bird speak pigeon?
And with that, fantastic.